Hello, and welcome back to the American Sushi Podcast. It is number 9 today, and I am Too Spooky, otherwise known as Brandon, and with me is my co-host, Evan.
That's me, also known as Evan.
You think it's you, but it might not be.
Oh, okay. No.
And today we have another very special guest. Today we have none other than Brian from Lohali. How are you doing today, my guy?
I am doing fantastic, and as always, I have brought Murphy's Law with me to make this so much more exciting.
Yeah, we've had our fair share of difficulties already, but we are ready to get into it. So why don't you start us off by telling us who in the heck you are and what you're doing here today?
Well, I'm 5'6", hazel-eyed. I enjoy long walks on the beach, but that's not why I'm here today. Today, I'm here to hang out with one of my best buds in Brandon, Spooky, and one of my new compatriots and amigos in Evan to talk about anime, manga, apparently sports at probably some point, art. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm coming in fully blind because I want you guys to see the authentic, the real, short Lohali.
That might have been the most excited guest introduction we've ever had.
Yeah, for a fact, but I hate to take that excitement down to bottom of the barrel levels here, but you think we're going to be talking about all these interesting things, and yet we're going to talk about the philosophy of the hot dog sandwich today. So that's the entire
I hope
podcast.
not.
How is that not interesting? Like, that's the most important discussion to mankind.
That's not what you were expecting.
Yeah, that's true.
If the hot dog is a sandwich, does that make the taco a sandwich? Because a taco and a hot dog are fundamentally the same shape.
Well, they're the same shape, but one of them is not made with bread.
That's
but
true.
It's made out of flour. And if they're both made out of flour, they both have the same base component.
Well, gluten kills people, so we're gonna move on from that conversation.
Yeah, speaking of killing people, hey, Brian, can you tell me how you met Spooky? Like, how was your first interaction with him?
So, my first interaction with Spooky was actually me reaching out to him almost a year ago. Like, this is spookily close to a year ago.
Ooh,
indeed.
It's the anniversary.
And I didn't get you anything. I'm so sorry. Oh, man, I'm blushing now. I reached out to him to be a guest on my own podcast, the Manga Club. And it was just a, spur of the moment. You know, he might respond back and say, I don't have time, because to me, at that moment, Spooky was a larger-than-life creator. He was a gigantic unknown in the system for me. And Brandon responded back with, oh yeah, I'd love to. And I was like, it was that easy? It was that easy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay then.
You'd be surprised how a lot of people, all you gotta do is ask most of the time. And a simple no is also, very common for a lot of people. But I think that was right before I was about to move too. So your podcast was my last little project before getting into moving mode at that time.
Well, no, that's not true.
It's not true?
You moved. We scheduled the call for after your move.
Did we?
Because you were going to do video, but you lost your webcam. No.
I actually knew this. He packed it away.
Oh, I was in the middle of my move. I was in the middle of my move.
You were in the middle of your... I was the project in the middle of the move.
Yeah.
Because you had packed your webcam away.
Yeah.
And you were like, sorry, I was planning on doing video, but I don't know where my webcam's at in here.
Yeah, it was in a box somewhere. And now we're doing audio only.
As always, as this stream has proved, we roll with the punches. We continued on, and from that moment, Spooky's been helping me grow as both a person and a creator, and he's been just genuinely an amazing friend. I gush and gush about him enough that people think that we're probably married, but genuinely, Spooky is one of the greatest creators I have gotten to meet on just any platform.
You're making me blush. You're too kind. Well, I can say the same has come from my end of the spectrum as well. It's a pleasure to know you, my guy. I'm happy to have you here today.
And I'm excited to be on because, I would do anything to make sure that you're taken care of, Spooky.
Oh.
I'm about to cry.
That's awesome.
I would even drive to where you are located and give you a back massage if you needed it. I mean, hopefully you don't need it, but I will.
Even if you don't need it.
You don't know that I don't need it is the thing. So
Great.
I'm hopping to my car. I'm hopping to my car as we speak. I'll make it there by the end of the stream.
Perfect.
Okay, all right. So on that topic, I guess in terms of how I ended up coming across you, because I think from what I remember you telling me in the past, it was because I either subscribed to you or followed you on Twitter. I don't remember which one it was, but basically how I came across your channel is because your channel is kind of what you guys call the manga tube, right? I mean, I like to call you guys manga collection tube myself, but to each their own. But I was watching like a lot of manga collection stuff at the time, and since you had also not only done one of those, but your entire channel kind of, at that time at least, kind of focused around the manga collecting aspect, that's how I came across you. And I came across a lot of different creators through this way. Found this little niche that a lot of people didn't really know about, or maybe they did, but I've never, this was my first introduction to it. So you were definitely one of the first people I ended up like coming across in that genre as well. And I guess it just all went from there, and here we are today.
The rest is
Steve's.
It was. Yeah, I saw that you subscribed, and I was like, "This is my chance, boys."
Oh, that's awesome! It's so serendipitous.
Like that's how life works, right? Every moment that you have is a chance to grow, change, and make the best future possible. And now I sound like a shonen protagonist, which is super annoying because I am the shonen trash.
Perfect.
So I guess on moving on from that aspect, so you introduced us to not only your eye color but also your height. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the Lohali channel and what's all been going on? Yeah, like how you got started, like your entire journey through it, and where you're at today. Maybe some future plans. Just give us the entire rundown.
I also specifically want to know about the bandana.
Oh yeah,
so,
I need that origin story, please.
Let's peel back the curtain, start from the very beginning,
yes,
and go down this journey together. That sounded a lot more seductive than I was planning on it, but trust me. So let's start with the name and the head wrap because they are intertwined together almost implicitly. So as it's very obvious, I have a head of lettuce, a long hair lifestyle. And I'm very, very proud of that fact. But when I first started growing my hair out, I had no idea what I was doing. So I was Googling with my little tiny fingers that used to play piano. I was just Googling how to take care of hair for guys. And I came across a website called thelonghairs.us, and it's an amazing company. They donate $1 from every purchase to children with hair loss.
Wow.
Which it's honestly, I love them. I love their message. And I've gotten to go on my honeymoon, actually. My wife we went to San Diego, and the company's based out of there. And I got to hang out with one of the one of the owners of the company, one of the creators and owners, and just chill with him. So it's a great community.
Awesome.
But that ties into I've always wanted to support them and support long hair. So when I made my channel, Lohali, which stands for long-haired lifter, the first two letters from each of those,
okay,
I wanted to incorporate something that one made me look unique, which was the head wraps because they have 20 different head wraps, and two, I wanted to draw attention and have people ask me about why are you wearing that? Where does it come from? And so I could talk about the community, I could support other dudes, dudettes, anyone who's trying to grow their hair long, show them support because we live in a society today that, we say we say that we're not supposed to judge on looks, but we still force little boys to get haircuts when they go to public schools in certain states, which is ridiculous to me.
So I guess to pause real quick right there, I actually have one question that kind of ties into it, so I'm just going to ask it real quick if you don't mind.
Please do.
Being a, fellow somewhat Midwesterner / just, we live in, not to dox each other, but we live in some very interesting areas of the United States. But I'd say one of the most common things I've noticed throughout my lifetime, because I'm also a somewhat long-haired boy myself.
Yeah, you are.
Yes,
Definitely.
you
are. So for some reason, I've just noticed it with literally every demographic of people. There, for some reason, I don't know why people care so much, but the biggest phrase I hear throughout my life is, "You need a haircut." Do you ever get that? And
I
how
have gotten
often?
that. I've gotten it to the point where when I was originally growing out my hair, I was part of a powerlifting team. I'm still part of the community, but we had a very specific team, and the team's joke at that time was, Brian, you need a haircut. Brian, you need to take better care of your hair. And again, at that point, I didn't know how to take care of my hair. And so I've heard that so often. And my mom consistently, until I reached the like 3-year point, my mom was like, you need a haircut. Have you thought about cutting your hair, Brian? You need a haircut.
I just wanted to check that I'm not the only one.
No, that is a completely Midwest thing. And as we all know, I never hide anything from anybody. I've doxed myself more than enough times.
Yeah, because it's happened from like almost any family member I can think of, just random people on the street, fellow classmates. Like it's just everybody.
I think I've told you that probably.
Yeah, like everyone just hates long hair. Like even good old Zesty James the other day, Mr. Zesty Luke over here had a birthday event. So it was like one of the few things we've done in quarantine. So while we were walking into the restaurant, James is like, "You're gonna cut your hair." Like, Jesus Christ, James.
Hasn't seen you for so long. He says, "Hey, get a haircut."
Why do you care? Well, anyways, so please continue.
Back to the Lohali of Lohali.
Oh, that was clever.
I know. I get one an episode.
I might actually have to end up stealing that because that was good.
You can have it. I don't know. I don't know that you want it, but you can have it.
Well, no, you know what? This will give you a little bit more insight into how I function.
Yes.
That would make a great, like, if I wanted to do a, lore series based on just different series, power levels, history, things like that.
Yeah.
You call it Lohali.
That rolls off the tongue, and it fits right into your branding.
It's brilliant. Once I make millions of dollars off of this idea, I will make sure to give you your cut.
Aw, thanks. We have it on stream. We'll get it in paper.
Oh, okay.
So
let's go back to the channel and your journey and how you've changed.
Absolutely. So you said that you have notes, but there's one thing that a lot of people don't know is that I actually had a mildly super unsuccessful YouTube channel before.
Ooh.
Back when right before I moved to my current location. Is it doxing myself if I say Kansas City? Because that's doxing myself, I guess. Whatever, I don't care. We have good food.
We are live, so.
I don't care. I've said it more than enough times. I challenge people. It's fun.
Now, is this the good or bad Kansas City?
It depends on where you're based out of, but let's be honest here. There's only one good Kansas City, and everyone gets it wrong all the time unless you're from the Midwest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so if you know, you know. It's the bad one. It's the bad one.
It's okay, great.
F in the chat for
Kansas City.
F in the chat, yeah, Kansas. Whichever one you think it is.
Whichever one's bad.
Right. Before I moved here, where I'm currently at in the bad city of KC, I had my own fitness YouTube channel, right before fitness YouTube channels exploded, and I was making videos that were completely unsuccessful with a Canon PowerShot. So it only had an internal mic; it didn't have an external mic port. It didn't have autofocus. It didn't have anything, and I was still making videos with it because I enjoyed it. And then it reached a point where I didn't have internet in my apartment for like a month and a half, and I was just starting a new job, and I kind of lost track of it, and I was moving, I was turning 21, and it was a thing that I just kind of stopped doing. And then after a while, I tried to start up another channel based around Harry Potter, and then I realized that wasn't going to be successful because there's so many Harry Potter based channels out there. And then eventually I met my current wife, and she started, she encouraged me to collect manga because she knew it was something that I was passionate about and wanting to do. And so I started buying manga, and I looked into the community a little bit, found people were making videos about collections, and I said to myself, you know what, I could probably do something similar. So I started making videos, and the rest is, as they would say, history.
And still being written to this day.
Exactly. I mean, the amazing thing about YouTube is, and the community, and we'll call it the manga collector community for Spooky's sake, so he can claim that he made up the name.
He needs that. He needs that.
I need that. I need him to need that. But it's been such a great community. Every single community has its own drama, its own ups and downs. But thankfully, we're able to kind of remove ourselves from that and create little subcultures within our own culture and really support one another. It's a great community to be a part of, and I'm glad that that's where I started to grow and change. I did manga hauls, manga collections, and it reached a point where they weren't entertaining for me. And if I'm making something and it's not keeping me happy, it's not keeping me engaged, I don't want to make it just because I know it's going to be successful. And it was at that point where I was like, hey, I know I'm going to be good on this. I know if I make this video, roughly how many views I'm going to get. I had it down to a science, and I didn't enjoy that aspect of it. And then pairing that with, getting married, pairing that with just a whole bunch of other decisions really made me take a step back and take a break from YouTube for about 3 to 4 months. And then I came back and had to start, from the bottom, which people don't understand is when you have a channel that's we won't even call it successful. We'll just call it a channel. When you have a channel and you take a break, sometimes your analytics take a hit, and it's going to take a while for you to build that momentum back up and to come forward and really get back to that steam, that momentum that you had before. And so I had to come back, get used to having my nose on that grindstone.
Yeah.
And a few months ago, actually, I think 2 months ago, I finally passed 1,000 subscribers, which was
That's
a
awesome.
massive goal of mine. Thank
That's
you. I'm
incredible.
excited.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
And this is where people start to question my sanity, because I was as exciting as it was. Like, I had a split second of great, this is awesome, and then in my mind something else switched, and it was like, okay, it's time for the next step. It's time to take it to the next level, because for me, and for a lot of creators out there, if you want to make this a career, you can't be satisfied with the level that you're at. You always have to be willing to change, to grow, to adapt. And 1,000 subs is that first step. It's that first, okay, I've proven to myself that, once I get the watch hours, or once I get X, Y, and Z, this is a way to make money, not necessarily a sustainable career. To make this a sustainable career, to make this a sustainable living, I need to do something else. I need to be something else.
Okay.
What was that from?
That's from Arrow, I believe.
Oh, that was from Arrow. Oh, okay, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that mindset of yours. I think that fits so well, and it really definitely speaks to the fitness junkie in me of like constant improvement.
It's and so you mentioned fitness, and like I said, I did run a YouTube fitness channel. So people are like, oh, you've always been in shape. You've always been XYZ. You don't know the struggle of how hard it is to do things. I was like, listen, I used to be 240 pounds at 5'6". Like, I was a butterball, and I was like, I know the struggle. I lost 100. I went from 240 to 140 in a little over a year.
Whew, that's really impressive. That takes a lot of discipline.
It does. It does. And so when people say you don't understand how hard something is, I'm like, oh, no.
No.
I understand. It's and something that for me, this is everything that I always say, unless I make sure that I make clear that it's a fact. Most things that I say are an opinion, because we all have our own perceptions on reality, and I don't want to change somebody's perception forcefully. I just want to interject what mine currently is and make sure that people understand where I'm coming from. To me, willpower is something that you can be born with, but it's also a skill, it's a trait, it's a muscle. When somebody says, oh, it's too hard, I can't do it, I don't have the energy to do it anymore. I was like, well, there are people out there working 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week to sustain their family, to sustain their living, and they're coming and going either to the gym, or they're working on their side projects, their side hustles. And it's not so much a thing of it's the choices that you make really define you as a person and as a creator. And I want my legacy eventually to be, I didn't leave any stone unturned. I was always doing my best to be the best creator that I could be, and creating the best content for the community.
That's awesome. You got me ready to run through a wall after that.
Ready to change my whole life.
Yeah. So,
walls are hard. I wouldn't recommend running through one.
Yeah, but I can get through it after that motivational speech.
Oh.
No matter how thick them layers are.
So this is a question kind of for both of you. It's geared towards you, Brian, but I want Brandon to touch on it too. So you talked a little bit about how your wife encouraged you to start collecting manga, but I have in my notes that your father said, whoever has the most toys wins. So I need to know the true story of how you got started manga collecting, and I want to know like what inspires that, what's the drive for it, and then Brandon, I want to know a little bit about your collecting history.
Okay, all right.
Ooh,
you can
interesting.
begin, Mr. Brian.
So I did karate when I was younger.
Okay.
As a kid, I was always very, very active. I did karate, and it was actually Seishinkan karate from Okinawa, Japan. And we used to have Kaicho Takeshi Kinjo fly over from Japan, teach us all, the really cool katas and all that stuff. It was a great time. It was a great learning experience.
Yeah.
But I had a buddy who was like, "Hey, man, you like karate?" And he was in karate class with me. I was like, "Obviously." I'm 5 at the time. I'm 5'6". He's like, "I got something to show you." And he just pulls out some manga, and I'm like, "What the hell is this magic?" And I was like, "This is absolutely amazing!" And I fell in love with manga right then and there. And then, when we would go to the bookstores, when we would go to Barnes and Noble. So whenever we'd go, I'd walk in and I'd start reading manga. But like the biggest memories that I have as a kid of reading manga was going to the library, picking out the OG Dragon Ball series. Like,
yes.
And I'm not talking like the red, because there's 2 different Dragon Ball series. Well, there's more than that. But you have your red spine and you have your white spine, the cream spine. And the cream spine is how I started reading Dragon Ball. And I remember reading that. They also had Pokemon in the kids section. And I'm going to be honest with you, Pokemon should not have been in the kids section.
Yeah, Pokemon manga's crazy. Yeah.
Dude, the Pokemon... within the first like 2 books, you see Pokemon get cut in half.
Yep.
Like straight up. It ruined me. But then there's another aspect of I have I'm not going to call them reading disabilities. I call them reading disadvantages, where the way that my mind functions, it's hard for me to read small print. My mind skips over the page. It's undiagnosed anything. It's just how I work. I will say that my dad was diagnosed with dyslexia, and usually it passes from, it's a male trait.
Okay.
At least it historically has been. I'm not going to say that's what I have, since I've not been diagnosed, but a lot of the things that happen are very similar. So for me, reading was always, I loved it, but I could only stick with kids' books. And when I was reading manga, it was easy, it was good, it was consumable, because I could never read American comics. Like, I can't read American comics. The way that my brain functions, it's too much going on, and I cannot focus, I can't read it, and I can't enjoy the medium. But removing the color and having the really big, easy-to-read words made it an enjoyable art form for me. So that's kind of how I got started into collecting. And my dad, I have the first 10 to 15 manga that I've ever collected, and I will always have those, and they were the monthly Shonen Jumps. And while I joke and say that my dad always said, he who has the most toys at the end wins, ironically enough, he didn't like me collecting manga because, and this is a generational thing, and I hold nothing against him in his memory, rest his soul, but he didn't understand that an adult, a 15, 16, 17-year-old male could collect comics and be normal. Like, he wanted me to be successful, and in his mind, and the way that they were raised back then, comics weren't what you got to be successful.
Yeah.
They were kind of something that were, you were a nerd, you weren't able to access the best parts of your life. And so in his mind, and I understand this, doesn't mean I agree with it, but from his point of view, he was trying to prepare me for the real world.
Yeah.
And I love him, and I thank him for trying to do what he thought was best, even if it wasn't, what was right. He was doing what he thought was best, and what he was trying to do was raise me to be a better person. And so I actually ended up getting rid of a lot of my monthly Shonen Jump. He didn't make me get rid of any of the smaller volumes, but he made me get rid of the monthly Shonen Jumps. And so then I kind of had to restart my collection over. And some of the first series that I purchased were case closed. The first actual Takuban that I got was from my cousin Thomas. It was the Shonen Jump Tester Takuban with like 4 manga in it. And it was like volume 2 or 3. And I have that sitting on my shelves. It was a yellow spine. Yeah, that was, man, I'm talkative.
No, that's great. I love hearing you talk, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess on my side of the spectrum, when it comes to just like how I got into manga collecting and all that, basically, I'd say like it first started with the monthly Shonen Jumps back when those were coming out, because I got really into Naruto in particular when it was like first airing on Toonami back in the day. Like that's how my love for anime started. Like I guess before that it was technically Yu-Gi-Oh, but like I didn't really know that was anime at the time, so you know, that's just how it be. But anyways, it started with the monthly Shonen Jumps for a while. I got like a subscription to it. I was like, Mom, this is what I want for Christmas. I don't care if I don't get anything else. Like, I want this subscription. And like, she's like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, just shut up. So then I got those for a while. I know the first volume I ever got was Naruto Volume 1, which I still have it. But I don't know, it's kind of weird for me because like, I have like some sort of like some different conflicting emotions about collecting in general, because I have a very like hoarder mentality. Like I'm the kind of guy who's like, you know that drawer of just cords that you're never going to use again?
Uh-huh.
You mean the Midwest drawer? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's like, you know, what if you need one of those cords? Like when I was younger, like, you know, whenever my parents would be like, okay, you're not using these toys anymore, we should get rid of them. It's like, well, I don't want to get rid of them. Like, why are you making me get rid of these? And it's like a lot of things that I had to get rid of back then. It's like, you know, I wish I would have had that now, but it was, you know, out of my hands. So unless I know for certain, like I'm not going to want something anymore, or like I just know I will never use it and I can do that 100% certain, it's like I probably just keep most things, right? So when it comes to manga in particular, like I'm definitely the kind of person who finds like value and enjoyment through like having things, you could say, rather than like the lifestyle where you basically don't have a lot of stuff, right? Minimalist. There you go. Mm-hmm. I just thought of it as you said it, but so I definitely do not, you know, have that lifestyle. So when it comes to manga, obviously, like I've gotten really in depth about it. Like my job centers around it now. I find like so much enjoyment through being able to like read stories and watch anime and all that jazz. So I've gotten into this weird place where like I really want to collect series that like mean a lot to me, like my favorites basically. But I also want to have a mixture of things that are just really hard to find, because like the things that not a lot of people have also interest me, because it's like, oh, you have something that, you know, there's not very many of these, or they're really hard to find, or they're really expensive. So it's like, you know, even if there comes a point where like, you know, I don't really want this anymore, I don't like it, there's still like a big value that you can get back from it. Like I can't tell you the amount of hours I've spent like learning what type of manga is worth a lot of money versus like what I would be interested in, and like knowing like what the general prices are. It's like, you know, save those searches on eBay, and every so often like somebody's not going to know what it's worth and they're going to put it up and you're going to be like, bro, I just made money. The other day I went to a like used like store for like video games, and they have like some manga and anime there as well. I've been there with you, Evan, so I think you know what I'm talking about. Do. But I went there and they had a bunch of Shaman King volumes. And
wow.
Only a couple days before I realized that some Shaman King value, like I heard from somebody, oh, these volumes of Shaman King are worth a lot of freaking money. So like I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should just see what volumes they have and like just kind of check on like, you know, eBay and Amazon real quick. So I paid $40 for probably about like 10 volumes or so. One of those volumes by itself is worth $80.
Jeez.
So like I just doubled with one of those, and a couple of them are also like around the same. So it's like,
wow,
I just made money just
quite
having
an
that
investment.
information.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah. So it's like, even if like when I read Shaman King, if I hate it, like I can just resell it and I've profited. So like it's a win-win situation. Like if I like it, I have something that's harder to get. If I don't like it, I just made money.
I need to back up. Have you never read Shaman King?
No, I haven't gotten to it yet.
What?
Like my list of need to watch / need to read is huge. It's huge. Like it's abysmal. Like it's depressing. Like
enormous.
Yeah, like and there's even like some manga that I've bought that like I haven't even got to read yet, and I know like for a lot of manga collectors that's kind of a sin. It's like, why do you keep buying things if you're not going to read it? But it's like, bro, I want to read it and I'm going to. It's not like I'm just never going to read it. That would be, if anything, it's more like an incentive for me to read it, because I'm looking at it. If I just look up, I'm like, oh, I haven't read that yet. I need to get to that. So like a series that Evan and I both read recently, Gantz, that's like a notoriously expensive manga. Like that, a full set can sell for like $2,000 to $3,000. Like that's how expensive it is. Yeah. It's nuts. And so I started collecting that slowly just by looking at deals and stuff. I know I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but basically when it comes to collecting manga, I just really like to have series that I enjoy. series that I feel like are worth something or I know are worth something, and I just try to like expand from there. Because like I want to be able to like just walk in and be like, man, I am proud of this collection, because I have a very collector mentality.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's definitely like a learning curve if you want to try to go for out of print stuff. I would say, like, I'm sure you will have some input on this, well, Brian, but like when it comes to out of print stuff, you really need to know like the value of things versus like, what it generally goes for, what is too much, what is like a spanking deal, right? So,
oh, absolutely.
On the topic
spanking
of Gantz,
deal.
like I had a couple volumes before I started reading it, but now that I've read it, I'm like, okay, this is definitely something that I'd want to collect because I really liked it, even though it's not perfect. Just as a little side story, like on eBay, like 2 weeks ago, there was like a deal for some of the volumes that are like stupid out of print for like a good price. I'm like, oh, I have to get this. Bought it immediately, and then the dude cancels it the next day.
Oh,
like,
no.
Bro, what the fuck?
You told me about
that. He's like, oh, well, some of the volumes are like probably in my attic or something. I don't know where they're at. So I just wanted to cancel it. I'm like, are you kidding me? So coming back to that, today, that man puts the fucking thing back up for like $50 more. So so I bought it again, and if this man cancels me again, I'm giving, like, I don't even care. I will give him a fucking negative review, bro.
He just doesn't like you.
I will fight you. I will fight him. I think what he's probably doing is just putting it up, seeing how much people will buy it for, and then like taking it down and just putting it back up again, which is really scummy.
And hoping that that you are probably the only one watching it.
Yeah, well, no, there was like a lot of people are trying to collect Gantz because it's so out of print. So like other people would definitely want it. So it was kind of one of those moments where like I had to jump the gun on it.
Yeah.
But if he cancels it again, this man's getting flooded with negative.
Flooded.
Flooded.
You just. Oh my God, that's
scummy.
Yeah, but I'm very proud of like where my collection is at this point. I just want to get to where I'm reading more or less. That way, I don't have so much that I'm like, oh well, I can't believe I haven't read so many of these yet.
And see, for me, I'm trying to schlepp off some of mine.
Oh yeah, you just did a giant unhaul, didn't you?
I did, and I got to get that in the mail to the winner of my challenge. It's been a crazy week at work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Crazy.
That's such a cool thing. I was in your stream when you were talking about that a little bit. I thought that was just so special. One quote that stood out to me, this is from when you announced it, I think, was each manga is special, but even if it's not, it doesn't mean something to me, it will mean something to someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's how manga is. Like everyone has a story that's associated with a certain series.
Yeah.
Even if it means nothing to me, somebody out there likes it. Somebody out there thinks that there's something positive to say. I mean, there's certain series that I just absolutely adore that are pure trash, like 100% dead ass trash. Mm-hmm. And I know that it will mean nothing to a lot of people, but knowing that I have that ability to, love it, collect it, read it, however I choose to consume it, you need to approach it with that kind of mentality. And like you said, Brandon, which is, by the way, this is weird. I've never actually called you Brandon on stream. I usually just call you Spooky.
You can call me whatever you want. I'll deal with it.
I'm not going to call you late for supper. I promise.
Deal with it.
That's the.
I mean, if you want to call me like Pipsqueak, I'll deal with it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Again, I think we talked about this once. You're like a lot taller than I am, so I think I'm legally required not to call you.
I'm like 2 inches taller than you.
That's a lot taller than
me.
Yeah. I think I'm 5'8", so I'm not like I'm in the same boat more or less. Like we are short kings out here.
We're the kings of the kings of Leon. Off topic discussions, but like I was sitting at 600 plus volumes, and some of them I was collecting just to say that I could have that manga in my collection. And it was becoming a thing where I had more manga than Half Price Books did. Like, I'm not joking.
Wow.
I would go look at their shelves. I had more shelves than they did with more manga on each shelf.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That's
such a cool thing to be able to claim.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I walked in and I was like, I got that. I don't want that. I don't need that. But there were also things that I'd see. I was like, oh man, that would be so cool. Like, I nearly ended up dropping my wife's asleep, so she won't kill me for this one. I nearly ended up dropping a few hundred bones just to say that I got Ultimate Muscle.
Oh yeah, that's a notorious. I know you were telling me about that a long time ago because you said you had like one of the super out of print ones, but like I hadn't looked into Ultimate Muscle yet.
I ended up selling it. I bought it for less than $18, and I sold it for $130, $140.
Yeah, like
what a flip!
I'm definitely guilty of the. I just want to be able to say I have this.
Oh, it's that it's not a I'm better than you mentality. It's I have something that somebody else doesn't have, and it makes you. It's gratification at its highest level. Like it's not instant gratification. You can continuously look at your collection and improve it, and you can say, oh, I have things that no one else. Very few people in the United States have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing.
Yeah,
it's an addiction.
That's so interesting
there
to me.
you go.
Because I'm definitely addiction. I won't buy a book unless I'm going to read it, and I won't display it anywhere unless I have read it. That's very much my mentality. So I have books that I haven't even started reading, so I'm too guilty to buy another book despite wanting it or whatever.
The exact opposite of Brandon and I right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just hey, I'm gonna read this someday. I'll buy it.
there was one series that I bought that I was confession time. I bought Rurouni Kenshin twice.
Oh, okay, twice. And I've sold it both times after I read the first volume. Okay, all right. So what? You need to explain that, please.
I could.
I'm very confused. Why did you buy it again and have the same situation happen?
Because I was lying to myself. I was like, I'll like it this time. I promise. My wife straight up asked me, are you actually going to read it this time? And I said, yes, I am. And I was wrong. I was so wrong.
That's so awesome.
It was, and the part of the problem was I love, as Midwesterners, How often do we brag about getting a good deal on something?
Oh, yep, absolutely. Our city's famous for that. Our city is unbelievable.
Yeah, you see that truck over there? I got it for 18 cents and my blue hound kick dog.
I didn't realize that was ingrained into my brain just from being from here.
Remember the gas discounts? People would frickin' line up around the block to get to a New York Roundup.
Dude, the best one was when you're bright, so when I'd go back home, I would brag about how cheap gas was in KC.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, gas up here is $3.13. It's $2.99 down in KC, suckers.
Oh, that's absolutely a Midwestern thing. That's so funny.
You go anywhere else and they're like,
what
are you?
Why are you talking about that? Get out of here.
There's nothing cool about that. And you're like, no, there is. So I got a great deal on it the second time around.
Oh, wonderful.
I got the entire Rurouni Kenshin series for under $2 a volume.
Wow, okay.
Oh my god.
And then I ended up selling it for $85.
I mean, it was worth something to you, and it means something to someone else. So
it was financially a smart decision.
I mean, that's also the beauty of it for a lot of stuff. It's if you can get a good deal on it, if you don't like it or you don't want it anymore, you can profit. It's I said, it's a win-win.
Uh-huh.
There was massive profiting going on. So yeah, I bought Rurouni Kenshin twice, sold it both times after I realized I was like, nah, fam, this series ain't for me.
That's so funny to me.
Then there's something else like Harry Potter. I used to have 2 volumes of Harry Potter, two
books,
2 sets.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 sets. I had 2 full sets of Harry Potter because it's legitimately, for all of her flaws as a person.
Yeah.
A lot. I didn't need to know that wizards pooped in their pants. There are things that I didn't need to know about universes that you didn't need to add. But those books meant so much to me growing up. They were what got me into reading. That was my very first. I went from Junie B. Jones and the Magic Treehouse, and I skipped directly to Harry Potter book 1.
I literally have a question about Harry Potter written down, so you're transitioning for me.
I see. That's how many podcasts I've done. I know how to transition.
You knew where we were going.
Go.
Dude, Harry Potter was my childhood. Like Tom Riddle says,
yes,
Lord Voldemort was my past, present, and future. Harry Potter was my past, present, and future. My big memories were reading it on the reading it when I was 6. I was walking out of my room and my mother goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm reading the Harry Potter book. I'm like, "I'm reading Harry Potter." And my mother goes, "Oh, are you really?" And you know that Midwest mom of like she's doubting what you're doing,
Yep,
not because you like it's not possible for a 6-year-old to read. It's because she thinks that you're not that bright because you are a Midwestern child.
Yeah, it's like
she's like, oh, are you really reading Harry Potter?
You're just looking at the pages, right? Where are the pictures at? The pictures are hidden in there somewhere.
And she read it to me as a kid. Like they read it to me when I was a small child. Like that was our family pastime, was reading it. Yep. And so she's like, okay, he memorized some of the pages. Like this kid is bullshitting me right now.
Oh, that's
and I
awesome.
straight up, she was like, okay, points at a page, and I just read it. And she was like, huh, all right then.
Did you ever go to any of the launch parties for the like more recent book? Not recent, but like the latter books.
Yeah.
Me too.
I went in robe with fake glasses and a wand.
Oh, ditto,
Please.
brother. Ditto, brother.
Please.
Absolutely.
Like Harry Potter. When I say that Harry Potter was my jam, God, how old was I when the 6th and 7th book came out? That would have been like middle school.
Yeah. Yep. That's where.
Because I'm 26. That would have been middle school, right?
Yep.
I remember hitting on girls while dressed as a Harry Potter nerd, and it worked.
What?
I mean, it is such a gender universal series.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was doing, like, we were sitting there in the launch parties for people who didn't get to, like, this was something so unique. Like, the launch parties for Harry Potter, it was like a 5-6 hour event. You'd get there like 6-7 o'clock at night, and you just wait until Barnes & Noble opened, like, said, all right, first book's ready to go, and you were waiting in line the whole time.
Yep.
I was doing palm readings on a girl. And boy, from everything, and obviously in my mind, this is completely skewed. I am probably wrong on this, but she was totally into this palm reading.
No doubt.
Oh, she was like, he likes Harry Potter and he can read palms. Be still my gothic heart.
I think it also helps that like Harry Potter was also like coming out, as we were growing up too. So it's very like ingrained in our millennial culture, you could say. Because like I just remember like specifically I started with like the first couple movies, and that's when I transitioned to the books after the fact, because like I was so into it as a child, like in elementary school, and like, all right, I've seen the movies and they're great, I want to keep reading. So I started from the beginning and read the rest. But like I remember specifically like in kindergarten playing Harry Potter junk at recess with people.
Yeah.
So it's like
absolutely.
It's whether it be the books or the films, I feel like it's just touched so many people at this point.
So the craziness, the craziness behind it is just like with Harry Potter, with the way that I grew up with it. Not when I and this is, I've doxed myself enough time. Like I've literally doxed myself on my channel so many times that it's stupid. I'm surprised I haven't given out my social security number yet. But people can't meet on my birthday, right? Like it's not a thing to be able to get together as a kid on my birthday. Just never was able to happen. So when the Harry Potter movies were coming out, we would do Harry Potter movie parties for me instead. I mean, this is, a few months before my birthday is actually supposed to happen, but we'd go and watch Harry Potter in the theaters with all my friends. And I remember specifically one time, oh, dude, it was baller. That's like awesome. I felt so cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
I do feel really bad because one of my friends has instead of a lightning bolt shaped scar in his head, he had a scar on his hand because we were going to the movie, and bless my dad. My dad loved Harry Potter, like loved it. Mm-hmm. My friend got his hand slammed. I'm not like, when I say slammed, I mean emergency room slammed in a sliding, not the Astro, it was the GMC Safari van door.
Okay.
Oof. Like, and he had to go to the emergency room. So like he's sitting there crying, and my dad's like, he looks and he goes, like, I can just picture my dad. He was like, God fucking damn it. I'm gonna miss the start of the movie for this shit. He made it to and from the ER in time to make it to the seat, so both him and the kid were there watching the movie as it started.
Oh my God, that's such a cool story.
I'm sitting there, I was like, my friend got injured on my birthday party.
And still made it.
And still made it to the Harry Potter movie. And that was like my dad and I's tradition. We'd go and watch the Harry Potter movies. We went to go see Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh,
which it's a travesty because that was a shitty. I was like, we've ruined my childhood. Thanks.
Yep.
This is. I was like, oh, now I get why people say that their childhoods have been ruined through bad movies. You almost did it, JK.
Yep.
See, I didn't really like hate the first one, but the second one is awful. Like, I'm gonna straight up say
I didn't watch
awful.
the second one.
I refused.
It's garbage.
Like, I have a Harry Potter tattoo. I'm going to buy. I'm convincing my wife. Like, this isn't even a joke. I'm 100% trying to trick my wife into buying me the art books.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm trying to trick her into
like
buying
the
me
picture
those.
books.
Yeah, the picture books for my birthday.
Yep.
Because I want those because they look cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, like the first thought in my mind was, this is terrible. And then I ended up buying. I have not read it. I don't plan on reading it. I just bought it because as a collector of Harry Potter and as a lover of Harry Potter, I needed to. I bought The Cursed Child.
The play.
Yeah, I will never. I have sworn to myself I will never. I haven't opened the book. I bought it and I did not open it when I bought it. I did not plan on opening it. I just wanted to buy it so I could say I do collect Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter and I will support the series. Now looking back, that's the wrong decision. I should have bought it used instead of brand new because again, money going to people's pockets. But yeah, straight up, I don't get how you can ruin your lore that bad.
Yeah, she was retconning a lot of stuff, retconning a lot of things.
There were some things that I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know why we need to know this, but that's not a...
whatever, I guess.
I was like, Dumbledore being gay, not that big of a thing. I was like, cool, I didn't know that Dumbledore was a sexual being, but...
But, well, I mean, you don't get gray hair like that for nothing.
I straight up didn't understand. Like, I was sitting there, I was like, in my mind, I was like, somebody was like, oh, Dumbledore's gay. I was like, what are you talking about? Dumbledore is attracted to people?
Yeah, he's such like an amorphous being throughout the series.
Like, he's like death, forever present. Ironically enough, and if you go thematically, there's a whole nother discussion that you can go with there. But I was like, okay, that's fine. And then when she did the poop gate, I was like, okay, I'm done. I was like, we are done here. You're just adding things that don't need to be added.
Yeah, for no reason.
Yeah, it was brutal. Like, I sat there and I contemplated life, and I was like, man, where do I draw the line on what creators, and that brings up an interesting discussion. Like, how much does a creator after a series is over have free reign to add lore to their world, and what counts as adding lore? Like, it's created such an interesting discussion. Like, like what counts as being an acceptable amount of lore to add versus, oh, it doesn't count. Like, as a, we always say that, at least, I'm in the habit of saying fans, unless a theory is confirmed by a creator, a fan theory doesn't count.
Facts.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because to me, if the creator hasn't confirmed it, we can't prove whether or not it's true or false. It's an unknowable.
Sure.
So then when the creator adds something that the fans are like, that doesn't make sense within your world, you're changing the laws of your world. You're changing what we fundamentally understand about your world. Like, where do we draw the line in saying, well, no, the only thing that actually counts as canon is X or Y? It's such a weird discussion.
Yeah. So I studied English literature in college, and the one thing that always stands out to me is the interpretive triangle. So to fully understand a text, a given text, movie, whatever, you have to take the author's intentions, you have to take what the reader gets of it, and you have to take the actual words in the book. So applying that to this, the example that comes to my mind is A Modest Proposal, which is a satire about eating the poor people to solve world hunger and whatnot. And when Jonathan Swift published this, people took it literally and were very upset and disgusted that he would suggest eating people. So he had to write an addendum to say, no, this is a satire, this is a joke. I do not actually mean eat people. And so...
no, dum-dums.
Yeah, no, don't be stupid. Knock it off. I'm criticizing you guys being stupid, and you're being stupid about it. And so, to me, that I think authors can clarify to things. I think there's a certain extent of like why, and then the reader can choose, like that can be in their interpretation. Is like, do I think she really intended to make wizards poop their pants, or do I want to just take the words in the text that are given?
Yeah, and with the invention of social media, it changes how authors approach their works. Because
Absolutely.
before, you have to get it through a publisher instead of being able to literally create a quick text. That you just control enter, and suddenly your characters are doing something crazy that they normally wouldn't do in universe.
Absolutely.
Did you think that we'd have this deep of a philosophical discussion today?
No, I'm glad we are, though.
Well, now that we're getting philosophical, I think it's back to the hot dog.
Hot dog. Well, instead of doing that...
Oh, okay.
I wanted to talk a little bit... Well, okay, first you said you wanted a Harry Potter channel, and so... Or you had one. Did you have one, or did you want one?
I filmed videos for a channel that I never published.
Okay. All right, so I want to... There's a couple branches I want to go from this. First,
Perfect.
Did you know there is a YouTube, like, rabbit hole of people who... like perform and cosplay as Cats from the musical/film Cats?
Oh God, no!
Because it exists out there. I stumbled into that after watching the movie.
I'm really glad you did.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was a great time.
Yeah, Brandon watched the movie with me.
Yeah.
Why, Brandon?
It was really
why did
fun.
you do that?
I really didn't want to go. I think there was another movie out at the time that I was like, can we please see this instead? But they wouldn't.
It was
I forget what movie it was.
It was something dumb that
it was
people
probably really good.
People actually didn't want to see.
Dumber than Cats.
What?
Okay, but Cats was like bad good. Bad good.
There's a cut where they show the cat's buttholes.
Okay, why didn't they release that cut? Now we're asking the real questions. Instead of the Snyder cut, give me the butthole cat cut, please.
I would actually love to see. I'm excited for the Snyder cut, by the way.
Oh, it was Star Wars. I was like, can we just please see Star Wars?
Oh, and then our friend Old One Tooth already saw that, I think.
Either somebody like One Tooth had already seen it, or somebody else like, well, I didn't see the last one.
So. Oh, that was Zesty Luke, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think. So I was mad.
Yep, and then so
Cats.
You got outnumbered, and it was for Old One Tooth because our friend lives out of town and he was coming back in. And
yeah, I mean it's the normal Midwest gathering of the friends.
Local theater, yeah.
Needless to say, he was pissed, but
and so and so to bring it all back home here, what do you think of Harry Potter's magic system versus various anime magic systems? So Black Clover, Fairy Tail, stuff like that.
So I think the Harry Potter magic system, especially if you go deeper into Pottermore in the wikis, is a definite soft magic system. It's not a hard magic system. There's no way to explain why somebody has a higher power level. There's no way to say, okay, this is how it is. It's just some things are and some things aren't. I think from a narrative perspective, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, create wonder and mystery within the story. There were some things that weren't quite explained, and if we're talking books versus movies, I don't want to talk about the movie's magic system because they fundamentally changed how it functioned.
Absolutely.
Because wandless magic wasn't something that was taught until 6th year.
Yep.
And all these motherfuckers were doing it
Absolutely.
when they were like in
all the
5th
time.
year.
All the time.
All the time. And more so, Rawlings made the conscious decision to use Harry's magic. We'll use Harry as an example here.
Sure.
She used his as an example of, I'm not going to call it pacifism, but non-lethal way to use magic. It was an ideal. The soft magic for her, the soft magic system was ideals instead of power levels.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a very, very interesting concept. I think it's fun, and I think comparing it to, I haven't studied Black Clover's power system enough, but Black Clover, you gain power-ups, you gain X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. And
there's a power structure, whereas in Harry Potter, there's not. You just have your wizards who are at the top. And even if, I'm re-listening to the 5th book right now.
Okay.
An example is, remember when McGonagall gets stunned by 4 or 5 spells?
Yep.
4 or 5 spells combined can kill a person, is what they said in the book. And they said that those 4 or 5 people wouldn't have been able to attack her in broad daylight. But we only get to see the peak and the lows of the magic system.
Yeah.
We don't really get to see anything else. We don't get to see your average user. We either see the best of the best going up against each other, or students. I think that I like the magic system. I think it served its purpose. Do I think that if I was going to write a magic system, I'd do it differently? Yes, I'd probably specify more so like, hey, the power comes more from emotion, which I think is something that was touched on lightly. I'm not going to say it was fully touched on.
Sure.
But if you really pay attention when they're explaining the Cruciatus Curse,
Yep.
Bellatrix, I believe, says you have to mean it, Potter. You have to really want to hurt somebody. So it's a mix of wanting an action to happen, but also really understanding the core mechanics of it. Because without one, you can understand the basics of the Cruciatus Curse, or again, as Moody said, the Avada Kedavra. You can understand the basics of it and how to perform it. But if you don't have the intent behind it, that want, that desire, that emotion, that feeling, you're only going to give them a nosebleed.
Yeah. Or like the Patronus, like
the Patronus is 100% an emotion.
And especially like I think they do that. Like the third movie is probably my favorite movie of them, and I think the Patronus scene where Harry finally like gets it and like saves everything, that is really well done in my opinion.
It was very well shot. It was very well done, and honestly, like I think that was when Daniel started to come into his own as an actor as well. Like, I think that was his first, like, the other movies were okay, but that scene where you see the sudden realization on his face of, that's me. I've done this before. I can save Sirius. He performed it so well. I think the Harry Potter movies were, like, they chose the right cast for the right things.
Yeah, yep. The lead, like, the two sidekick, like, the two friends. I think Hermione and Ron are well done.
I'm not gonna talk about my dislike of how the writers wrote Ron, because that's a whole nother discussion. Because they murdered my boy.
You're a Ron stan.
I'm not a Ron stan. If you compare book Ron and movie Ron, they're two completely different characters.
Well, on the topic of the cast, how do you guys feel about the big possibility that probably within the next 20 years, Harry Potter will probably be rebooted at some point just because money?
I want it rebooted as a TV show.
I'd like it, like a Netflix series. I'd get down with that.
Netflix, HBO Max.
Ooh, yes, HBO, absolutely.
Like,
I can see that.
Give me, I'm 100% down, because while the cast was perfect, there were some inconsistencies in what was chosen for the cast. Like, being completely honest, Alan Rickman was the perfect Snape.
Yes.
However, Snape was only 32 when the movie started. They aged up everyone.
Yeah.
They aged up Harry's parents' generation by like 10 to 15 years, which was actually it was narratively important that they were young, if you completely understand it, because war ravages the young. And that's what Rowling said she was trying to convey. I mean, you can argue either way.
Okay.
But the Marauders were actually all young. Sirius Black, when he finally died, spoiler alert, he was only 36, 37, whereas Gary Oldman was in his 50s. Lupin was again, same age as Snape, a 34-year-old man with the wizarding equivalent of AIDS, because that's what she wanted it to be. Like, there were some important things that I think were messed up age-wise, writing-wise. They made Hermione a lot less interesting character. One thing that I'd never paid attention to, and it wasn't, for once they didn't pull away from Ron, they just pulled away from a story perspective. And when they meet Grop in the fifth book, in the fifth movie, Grop grabs Hermione, and she's very firm and says, put me down. But in the books, she is scared. Like, she ducks behind Harry, and she's cowering. Like, because a gigantic 16-foot behemoth just tried to rip her head off on accident. Like, reasonably so, but they made her seem very strong in that, and I thought it was more so touching to me in the books, because she was still afraid of Grop. She didn't have that control, she didn't have that same strength interaction where he respected her.
Yep.
Like, it was much more important in the books that she was kind of not weak, but she had weaknesses. And so I'd like to see an HBO Max series focusing around each book, I don't know how you'd split it up, and you could even include filler where they're, more training. I'd like to see more schoolwork, more spell work.
Me too.
Because that's super important. And obviously, with a movie, you can't do that. When you only have 2 hours, which is why they split the 7 movie up into 2 parts, and I think that was acceptable. They started a trend, but it was acceptable when they did it. But I think an HBO Max series would be amazing. I'm just worried the two characters who were absolutely 100% perfect, like age-wise, writing-wise, acting-wise, was the twins. I'm worried that they will screw up the twins.
And I think they're so easy to get annoying too.
Oh yeah.
To get like really frustrating or annoying or like too quippy. You know what I mean? Like they're the pranksters. Like they're so easy to do wrong that it's important that they did them right.
And I mean, the actors that they chose, they like for all intents and purposes, they were Fred. Like for every interview, they were Fred and George. They were like, so how did you like? My favorite is the interviewer who asked, so how did you two meet? And without skipping a beat, they were like, oh yeah, we met at the audition. We just happened to look like each other. Like
that's a perfect answer.
They didn't even skip a beat. They were just like, screw it. We'll screw with this guy. That's the only part that I'm genuinely worried that they're gonna mess up is the twins. Because I would love to see. Because one thing that you didn't get to see in the movies was how genuinely brilliant the entire Weasley family is.
Yeah.
Like, every single person in the Weasley family was smart. Even Ron, and I've gone on a rant on this about Twitter. In the first book, Ron, as a freaking 11-year-old, beat McGonagall's chess game that was meant to confound fully grown wizards. Like, and Ron beat it. And he beat it.
Yeah, it wasn't like Harry saved him or anything. Like, no, that was Ron's puzzle, and he did it.
And Ron was like, and he was like, I know. He's like, I got this, and he knew. But he like, in the way that they explained it in the books, and the way that I interpreted it, was mid-game. He knew that he was going to have to sacrifice himself at the very end. My man was seeing literal moves ahead.
Observation
he was like,
hockey.
Absolutely.
Sanji confirmed. Yes, bro. Oh, that new chapter of One Piece, by the way.
Oh, I haven't read it.
I haven't read it either.
We should have read it. I did say that. I'm an idiot. I forgot it came out today.
I read it. I'm gonna be honest here. I've already read it.
I would have read it.
But anyway.
Awful.
Yeah, I think the possibility of a reboot is exciting, and I hope they do it as a TV series instead of a movie.
Okay, I can get down with that.
So I definitely have plenty more questions, but I think, Brandon, if you have some, go for it.
Well, I have a couple here, so I'll go for one right now. One bigger question I've had. This is something I've wanted to ask you before, but I haven't really. It's never came up, more or less. So I've definitely watched a good plethora of your videos at this point, and a lot of the manga clubs as well. And I know, we're going back to manga, so spoiler alert, back to manga. All right, anyways, so one of the things I've when it comes to you collecting and whatnot. I've heard you say this before. I'm not sure if you still feel this way. I'm sure you do, though. But you've said one of the big reasons why you want to really like define your collection is because you want to be able to pass it on to like your next generation, your child, your children. You want to be able to share what you love so much with them, and it can be like a bonding experience, more or less. At least that's what you hope. So the question I wanted to ask is, have you ever thought about like, what if your children end up like despising manga? Like, what if they just can't get into it?
We're all out of here. Get back inside.
My kid comes home and says, "Dad, I want to be a sports star." I'm just gonna throw a manga at their head and say, "Sports star, this kid."
Read Slam Dunk.
I Shield 21 at him.
Yep.
Actually, that would be the BDE move of the day. Like, throw a manga at them that is related to the sport that they want to play. It's like, understand it from a fundamental level. Start here. And I have seriously considered that. And I think that there's, a few things. It comes down to a nature versus nurture discussion, right?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, there are some things that, you're not going to like as a person. That is your nature. But, my dad was an older gentleman. When I was born, he was 39. So he was older, not old. I have one friend whose like parents had him when it's one of my friends. He's 1 year younger than me, but his oldest sibling is 20 years older than him.
Okay.
But anyway.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was, and his youngest sibling is 5 years. His youngest, the difference between the oldest and the youngest is almost 25 years.
Whew.
Nuts.
I was like, damn, look at you, Dad. But anyway, I think, we can use Harry Potter as an example here. Again, oddly enough, because it ties back to every aspect of my life. With, my dad created a bond with me through Harry Potter. We didn't connect on everything, but fundamentally, when it came down to it at the end of the day, we both loved Harry Potter, and it was a bonding experience.
Yeah.
I think that nature-wise, my kids might not like manga, but nurture-wise, I can try to foster the love of the medium within them. Not force it, but foster it from a young age. Basically, Stockholm syndrome them into liking manga.
What a way to phrase trying to get them to like reading is Stockholm syndrome it.
Well, because I know a lot of it's been proven that a lot of your interests early and later in life definitely come from what you experience at home as a child, right? So I feel even from my personal experience, my dad is a big metalhead, and my mom likes a lot of modern rock and stuff at the same time. So I got my love for music from them. I hated it at first, but eventually I came around to it. And if I wouldn't have been exposed to it so much, I probably never would have picked up that interest. So I feel obviously there's a good chance that it's all going to work out how you envision, and it's going to be fantastic, obviously. But at the same time, there's always that possibility of that big hope you have could not end up panning out. And it's kind of I was just more or less wondering, would that end up deterring you from wanting to collect manga further after that point? Or do you think that because it's still so interesting to you, you just be you know what, it's whatever? And
well,
then,
considering that One Piece will still be going on, considering that One Piece will still be going on, I will 100% still be collecting manga at that point. But like I said, if my kids, if I'm lucky enough, because like I said, I wanted to be a parent since I was 5. That's a weird thing for a male to admit. No, I wanted to be a dad since I was 5. I wanted to be a stay-at-home dad since I was 5. Not a regular dad. I wanted to spend every single waking second with my children.
Yeah.
And there have been thoughts in my mind what happens if I can't have kids? What happens if that? And to me, that's super heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I want to be just like my dad was in certain aspects. Other aspects, obviously, I'd like to be better, and other aspects, I'll never be the same, and that's okay. But my dad always let me make my own decisions. Everything was always my choice. And I think that's what I want to raise my kids on. You don't have to like something. You don't have to enjoy something just because I do. You are your own individual, and you can make your own choices. And that's such an important lesson that my dad gave me.
Yeah.
But not, you know what? And I'm doing my mother a disservice because she was the exact same way. They let me grow and experiment. My mother was a lot more supportive of things that I did in certain aspects, whereas my dad, he would teach himself. He wasn't I'm not going to say he wasn't athletic, because he was super athletic in certain sports, but he didn't play basketball. He didn't play baseball. But when I said, I think I want to try the sport, my dad would go out of his way to make sure that he could coach the sport. Wow. Even if he was only an assistant coach, he would go out, he would pick up, how to coach baseball for dummies. I'm not even kidding.
I believe
he bought that
awesome.
book. I used to do fencing, so sword fighting. He taught himself how to fix the weapons because he couldn't fence, but he taught himself how to fix the weapons because he still wanted to be a part of the community that I was in. And I think that's something that I want to pass on to my kids. I don't want to force them to like manga. What I want to do is I want to find a common ground, and for me right now, I want to share an important aspect of my life. My dad tried to get me to work on cars. It's something that I didn't enjoy, but he tried to get me to do it, and once he saw that it wasn't my thing, he accepted that about me. Yeah. And so if my kids don't like manga, awesome. I'll find another way to connect with them. I'll find another way to, be a part of their lives, be a part of what they do.
Yeah, and I know he's got to be so proud hearing this.
For sure.
Looking down and hearing it, you just are gonna bring a tear to my eye hearing you talk like this.
He's my dad and I say this with love and respect. Everybody has flaws. No one is perfect. And, it's not my place to air out anybody's dirty laundry, anything like that. For all of the flaws that my father had, he never pushed any of his prejudice. He never pushed any of his mindset on me. We'd have our arguments from time to time on certain things, but he always let me make my own decisions. He always let me make my own friends. He always supported my friends. Didn't matter who they were. The second that they were my friends, they were family at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who I want to be. when I grow up, that's like I want to be that same kind of person. I want to be kind, caring, loving, supportive. I want my kid to be able to come to me and have difficult discussions. Though I do want to be better at having the quote unquote talk with my kid than my dad was.
Dude, I never even got the talk.
I got it at school.
I
went to a Catholic school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, so they don't do the talk there, do they?
No, actually, they don't do the talk in the way that like traditional public schools do, but they actually did have health science.
Okay.
Because it was for all its misconceptions, Catholic Church isn't as far behind on science as people think it is.
Okay.
I'm not a practicing Catholic anymore, but the way that they taught, they allowed for discourse, they allowed for discussion, they allowed for the growth of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that if you go to Catholic high school, you either come out a hardcore Catholic or you come out and you are not a Catholic anymore. It's just the nature of the beast. Anyway, so we went on a senior retreat.
Wait, I'm sorry, senior? Like high school?
Like high school senior retreat. And they had our parent, like this was our last thing before we graduated, before we left the school, before we became full-fledged adults in the eyes of, the nation. That's how it is. We went and kind of did this religious senior retreat, and they had our parents write notes to us. And in my dad's letter, my mom wrote a very nice, beautiful letter saying how much she loved me, all that good stuff, the typical mother things.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad, on the other hand, wrote a note, and he was talking about everything. And then I get to the very end, and he says, Pia, and it just somewhere, it was either in the middle of the letter or at the very end of the letter, my dad said, by the way, girls can get pregnant even if you wear protection. I love you. Goodbye. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is this, like, I was questioning the validity of everything that I was reading up until that point. And then I didn't bring it up. Like, I didn't mention it, until a couple years later. And I told my mom that. And she just whips around and looks at my dad and goes, really, Kevin? You said you gave him the talk. He's like, well, he read the letter, didn't he?
I would have thought I got pranked if I got a letter like that. I would have been like, what?
I was sitting there, I was like, where's Ashton Kutcher?
Like, yeah,
where's Ashton Kutcher?
Look around the bus. Who wrote this? Like, what?
Like, that was my version. Like, most people, like, I got mine with school. I was like, no, my dad gave me mine with a very, very weird message.
While I was a senior.
I was in high school, and my dad gave me a note that said, they can still get pregnant with protection.
That's unbelievable.
And I was like, I'm sitting here, I'm going, what standard am I supposed to give my son the talk? Like, I don't know how this is supposed to go now. I'm like, I don't know what's normal. Am I just supposed to be a Midwestern dad and avoid the topic until it awkwardly comes up and my child is somehow pregnant or gotten somebody pregnant? And I go, well, I guess this is how it is.
Yeah, here you go. Figure it out.
Joke's on you.
Sounds like you need to one-up it and write a research paper.
Write a with many sources. Like, very exceptionally detailed.
MLA format, double spaced.
Oh my god.
Pictures and references.
Well, I have two questions that I want to ask, and then I will give the floor over to you, Evan, because I know you got a lot of notes.
Yeah, well, I'm stealing your thunder right now. I want to ask about Oda.
Fuck!
So get owned.
Okay.
So you said you think Oda's going to go down as one of the top fiction authors of our time. Who else is in that category for you, Lohali?
Interesting. So,
yeah,
great delivery.
I think, obviously, if George R.R. Martin is able to finally finish any of his series, even though I've never watched or read it,
oh no,
I think he'll go down.
You're missing out.
Yeah. I know. I remember distinctly a kid in high school was reading A Song of Fire and Ice, and God, that was over 10 years ago that he was reading that.
Wow.
So I've known about it for a while. I was never like, oh, that's my thing. But again, you have to understand, since I don't read adult fiction, it's hard for me to really comment truthfully.
Sure, okay.
But what I can say from a child fiction, that sounds so weird.
But
from a youth, young adult fiction perspective, I think there's some really interesting authors out there. I think that Naoki Urasawa is going to go down, and if we're talking exclusively manga, I think Urasawa is going to go down as one of the kings. Like, just the way that he writes his stories and keeps every single detail in mind, along with his time travel and back and forth storytelling style, absolutely insane. Like, I have not seen any other author able to do something like that, and I love it. Like, Urasawa is, if you've never read any of his series, you have to start in a very specific order, in my opinion, so you can get used to his style and fully enjoy Monster. But I think that, oh boy, Pluto is the way to start with Urasawa. From a young adult perspective, I think that Rick Riordan.
Yes. Okay.
I think he's created because he has his own EU now. Basically, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
He has other authors, not even like ghost writing for him, like just straight up writing in his universe. And I think that they're very important stories for kids because Rick, or whoever Rick is, could be a pseudonym, could be Rick, could actually be anybody.
It's me,
but it's you. I knew it.
Exposed.
I knew it.
Not clickbait.
But that would be a great title. Rick Riordan exposed. It'd be spooky.
I lied. All right.
Oh, cool. That's a video.
But the way that he's crafted his universe and the way that his universe actually speaks to kids, it's one, easy to consume, but it also introduces a lot of hard to talk about topics. It talks about family dynamics. It talks about, betrayal. It talks about friendship. It talks about sexuality, race. When I was listening through the Sword of Summer series, so his Viking series, his Norse God series, and it's because I didn't understand it at the time. One thing that I wasn't the biggest fan of was the inclusion of the romantic relationship between the main character and who he ended up with. Have you read the series?
Nope.
And this is, again, part of it's just because I wasn't introduced to it, partially because I didn't understand it, and partially because I don't think you always need romance in a story. But Rick loves romance, so whatever. The main character ended up with a gender fluid, is my understanding, character.
Okay.
And while I have no compunctions about that, originally when I read it, in my mind I was like, God, that's freaking weird. I was like, I don't know how I'd feel about that. But I think that's important. I think that it opens up a discussion as to why was I feeling that emotion at that point in time? Is it right for me to feel that emotion about that thing? Is there some fault in myself for feeling this? What can I do to change my directive about it? How can I be more open? And I think he's also providing a voice, even if it's not always the perfect voice. He's always providing a voice for minorities. He's providing a voice for people who have historically and currently are being, I don't want to, discriminated against. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yep.
Being discriminated against. And I think that he's opening up very important conversations about that. So I think he's going to go down as an important normalizer of modern society, making it more acceptable for kids to see it around in their life, because the Nico thing, not Nico Robin, that's a One Piece discussion, but Nico was introduced as a gay character, and I was like, when I read it, again, my own biases took over before I was able to rationalize. I was like, well, I was more upset by the fact that I wasn't able to guess it originally than I was by the fact that he was gay. And I was like, God damn it, Rick, what do you mean he's gay? And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's forced me, like reading his books have forced me to examine myself a little bit deeper and say, okay, this is a prejudice. Like, why was my first instinct this instead of, my first thought was, okay, well, that's freaking weird, instead of, oh, this is normal. Why was it that? What can I do to change that about myself? And I think that's a thing that is going to be very important in the future.
Wow, I knew you'd have a good answer for that.
And this is, like I said, and just so everyone knows, I requested not to get any of these questions beforehand.
Yeah, he wanted to be blindsided by our questions.
To me, from a creator standpoint, it's the same reason why I do 90% of my videos are off the cuff. I make it up as I go. I don't do any research. I just talk from the heart. because to me, I feel the most important thing a creator can be, especially in modern society, is honest with their audience.
And genuine.
And genuine. I think those two things are what sets the goods apart from the, like, let's be honest here. If Casey Neistat wasn't so authentic in his videos, he would not have exploded the way that he did. There are people who had just as good technical ability as him, but they weren't as authentic. Like, authenticity is an amazing thing, and it really opens up the communication between everybody, and it creates a community.
Yeah, and I think especially with this podcast and the people I've gotten to talk to and meet, the one thing that I've heard so consistently is people saying that Brandon is such a genuine guy. And I think that really rings true about his personality.
I mean, it does, and like I said, I've threatened to drive up and beat him up, but you know.
I mean, he threatened to go to my house and call me dumb.
I almost did.
I mean,
I've thrown that out there.
And it was genuine.
he's always genuine.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important. I think that's why so many people feel comfortable reaching out to you, Brandon, is that you are such a genuine person.
I definitely try my best.
Your voice just lulls me into, like, you're like the siren of YouTube. Your voice just lulls me in and pulls me in. I'm like, God damn it. Like, who else could make a 2.5 hour, 2 hour and 15 minutes, sorry, not 2.5 hour, movie, let's not even call it a video, documentary on the Dragon Ball bootlegs?
Well, I think some sort of mental issue is definitely involved, but...
Well, I mean, 100%.
Yeah, everyone has.
It's initial issue.
It's 2020. Everyone has one.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so...
Definitely true.
But that was, like, when I watched that entire thing, and I was like, damn, Spooks, this is baller. Like, I messaged Spooky the day... I watched it the day that it came out, I think. Didn't I, Spooks?
It came out last July, so it's been a year now, believe it or not.
I think I watched it when it came out, and I messaged you. I was like, dude, that was great. And then when you did your Blade of the Immortal review, I was more upset because for some reason my notifications weren't on YouTube, and so I didn't see that it came out, and I didn't see that you had tweeted about it. And I was like 2 days late, and I was so pissed with myself.
I mean, it's one of those weird things where it's like that series in particular, I know there's not a huge audience for it, but I find it interesting myself, so I'm just going to keep trying them out. And it definitely takes a certain level of sanity or insanity.
Or lack thereof, yeah.
Yeah.
Me, Spooky, the audience.
The audience is Brian.
the one demographic is Brian from Lohali.
Specifically.
It's just straight up, there's 30,000 views on it. It's all just me.
Yeah, we're constantly refreshing.
I could go into the app and you could see the demographics for gender, and it would say male 0%, female 0%, Lohali 100%. That's what it would be.
That would be the most amazing thing ever.
Well, I'm gonna steal your.
Yeah, the stage is yours now. I mean, okay. I didn't have the thunder.
Oh well, I got the lightning.
Okay, cool. That's what I was.
Oh my! Thank God somebody said that. Because Brandon, if you hadn't said that, I was gonna say, well, I got the thunder.
It was in my head too. We were all on the same page.
Did you ever watch? God, what movie was that? It had The Rock in Stifler from American Pie.
What?
I have no clue which movie you're talking about.
The Rundown. It was The Rundown. It was like an early 2000s movie, action movie with The Rock when he was doing one of his roles. He chases. So have you ever watched The Goon?
No.
Oh, I've seen that on Netflix.
The Goon?
Okay.
Hundreds of times, but I've never watched it.
It's a great. So you know who Stifler is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's actually he's actually a genuinely good actor. But there's a scene in there where The Rock is being paid money to bring Stifler's character back home to his dad, and he goes down there and chases him, and Stifler lifts up his leg and goes, "You want some thunder?" And he waves his leg around. "You want some lightning?" And then he just tries to punch The Rock in the face with his fist, and he just bips it.
I mean, he is a literal rock, so
he is
rock
sediment.
At that.
He is sediment.
Well, the two questions that I have written down left for you over here, I have a couple more, but I know Evan's got a lot, so I'm not going to steal too much thunder here. I'll just give off these two and give the floor back to him.
Oh, wonderful.
So the one question that, obviously a lot of these are manga related because you are the manga collector tube guy.
Apparently I am, and I'm also apparently now a Harry Potter expert.
Harry Potter guy.
Yeah.
Really.
So the question I have involves your unhaul. So obviously we touched upon it a little bit earlier, but recently you unhauled a bunch of manga that you don't really like care for anymore, or you think could be obviously in better hands for somebody else.
Yes.
So does that mean you're slowing down in general with collecting manga, or just purchasing manga, or you being more like looking for very specific things that mean something to you in general instead of just buy? Like what's the situation going on in your collecting habits?
So like Britney Spears, it's not unlike Britney Spears. It's not all buy. Actually, it was NSYNC.
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys, whichever one it was. Anyway, whoever that was. So my collecting has absolutely slowed down because I was spending about $200 a month on manga. Like it was stupid. I'm gonna be honest here. That's way too much money. My collection in under a year went from sub 20 volumes to 600 plus.
Whew.
Dang.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I know a thing or two about blowing way too much money. But my purchases now are 100% going to be more what I want my collection to represent to me, instead of, oh, I got it for the clout, I got it for the Insta.
Did you get it for the Insta?
Yeah.
Some of them I did. Some of them I did exclusively buy for the clout.
Yes.
And there's some series that I'm gonna carry with me to the grave. Like if I really really wanted to, I could sell Bokurano for an exorbitant amount of money, like a lot. And I got half of it for free because a fellow YouTuber, Andrew Sundoku, gave it to me. That series will never leave my collection.
That's awesome.
Unless I am forced to give it up because it was a gift. And something like that that's a gift, I want to keep because it means something to the friendship, to the relationship that was built.
Yeah.
Whereas something like Rurouni Kenshin, we'll just use that one, literally means nothing. And I would rather somebody purchase the series used from me than support the creator because he's a shitty person.
Yeah, I have heard that. Not a good guy.
Not a great guy.
I think we might have even talked before about like on a different podcast about separating art from artists.
Oh, yep.
That's a topic for another day. So I guess sort of relating to what you're talking about right now. The other question that I had is so obviously when it comes to the manga tube community, it's definitely like smaller. Like I've seen a lot of people in it talking about how like there's a ceiling and you can't break through. But at the same time, though, I've also noticed that there's a lot of newer manga creators like kind of pushing through the roof and like changing the boundaries. Like I know you've had a couple of them on your manga clubs recently, for instance. So I guess my question would be, so how do you feel about like the new wave of manga related creators? And in your opinion, what would be the top 5 most underrated out of those you've come across?
Ooh.
So this is going to get me into a little bit of trouble. I love all of the new creators. This isn't the part that's going to get me into trouble. I love all of the new creators. I think they're all bringing a new life into what we're doing, and we're it's great to see. You just love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, why wouldn't you love to see the community grow? The problem is, take a look at the old guard. From the old guard, who is realistically still around, and are they still doing pure manga haul and manga collection stuff? Now let's take a look at it from that perspective. They aren't. What we're starting to see is a transition of the creation ideals of these individuals. We're seeing them start to realize that it's not all about manga, it's not all about anime. It's about the culture as a whole that we've been raised on, that we've grown to love. And it's something that I've been preaching ridiculously. Somebody said, oh, well, I feel like there are some things that, why are they leaving the manga tube community? I was like, they're not leaving the manga tube community. They're becoming a creator of a different kind. They're taking advantage of the lessons that they've learned, the community that they've grown and has supported them. And now you're saying, since they're not a part of the community anymore, or they're changing their demographic, they're changing what they want to talk about, you don't feel comfortable with supporting them anymore. Why not? And it's those kinds of questions that you have to ask so a community can properly grow. Because before, I hate tooting my own horn, before I started creating for MangaTube, people weren't as concerned with quality of video. They weren't, and that's fine. That's great. But after I got there, the quality of video started to be a little bit higher. Like, I started to expect more out of myself, and I started to challenge other creators in the community. I was like, why aren't we doing more for our, why aren't we doing more? But like, well, if you have a good collection, then shouldn't that be all that matters? I'm like, no. And this is where I try to change the topic. It's no, that's not all that matters. Mm-hmm. It's providing quality to inspire the creators in the community around you to create their own product. Show them that the ceiling that was there, and I've said before that the only reason why there's a ceiling is because we've allowed there to be a ceiling. There are creators who have 10 to 15,000 subs with Manga Collection. It's not that there's a ceiling. It's that we haven't fully tapped into the potential of MangaTube as a whole.
See, that's one thing that I've definitely not believed, like when people say, oh, there's a ceiling. Well, I feel like at that point you're just, not trying to break out of your own boundaries.
Yeah, you're resigning yourself to that.
Exactly.
And it's 100%.
Yeah, 100%. People are just obviously at a certain point is where you see things start to slow down. But at the same time though, if you're trying new things and trying to innovate even, you're just going to go past the boundaries that you thought were originally there. So it's I feel like those people are more or less just selling themselves short.
They're trying to give themselves an excuse to fail and be okay with it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone creates for a different reason. If you say to yourself, oh, this is what I can achieve, and that's all that you achieve, and you're happy with that, I'm happy for you. But if you're saying, oh, this is as far as I can go because the community doesn't support me, I'm like, no. It's because you're lacking somewhere else. It's because if you're positive about where you're at, and you're saying I'm okay with where I'm at. I'm genuinely happy with the fact that I am where I am, and you are genuinely happy about that. I will never take that away from anybody. That is you. That is what you want, and that is great. The second that you say it's somebody else's fault that I'm not growing, it's your fault that you're not growing. That's harsh, but to me, that's the reality. We used to think that it was hard for people to reach 1,000 subs as a MangaTube creator, as a MangaTube collector creator, whatever. We used to think that was impossible. Now we're seeing people get there in 4 to 5 months when it used to take 2 to 3 years. It's because people have been breaking their backs, breaking the standards, breaking the mold, so that we can grow and we pull in a bigger audience. You create your own audience.
I think it also definitely helps that anime and manga in general are becoming more mainstream.
Yeah.
So to just take it back to a couple years ago, 2014, 15, 16 even, the audience for anime and manga wasn't that big on YouTube. It was definitely there, but you could say that there was a ceiling more or less. But as more people have gotten into it, the audience as a whole has just grown for everybody.
Absolutely. And I think that's a huge discussion. I mean, let's use two of the largest, anime tube creators. Let's talk about Nux and let's talk about the Anime Man. They both have 1 million+ subscribers, right?
Yeah.
And Nux talks about memes, anime memes almost exclusively. That should be limiting, but it's not. You know why? Because he has created and crafted a personality around who he is and what he expects, and his community has grown and responded to that. It's not about what people don't get, and what I'm still working on, what I feel like I'm lacking, and I do an okay job of it on podcasts, but YouTube isn't about the content that you give. At a certain point, to grow to a certain point, yes, the content is important. But after a certain point, it's about your personality. If your personality is not engaging, if your personality doesn't bring something to the table, then your information is useless. In my opinion.
Absolutely. And I think that goes with all of YouTube too. And I think with regards to looking at this,
I wasn't clear on that one. Yeah.
No, for sure. And it's a microcosm, the anime and MangaTube. You could look back at YouTube as a whole, and there was a certain ceiling back when YouTube first started, and all the way through probably 20. Maybe 14 when it started to be the downloaded app and the way to consume stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And let's use another one of the creators that I love to talk about, and Brandon knows that I talk about him a lot. Let's talk about Tekking.
Oh boy.
Like he's made almost 2,500 videos.
Yeah,
I have this man's stats memorized because this is how influential I think that he genuinely is. He has a personality that lets him go for 20 to 40 minutes multiple times a week, very, very, very rarely editing minus his intro. Very rarely. He has a personality, and when people say, "Oh, I can't grow anymore because I've reached the ceiling," Bleach ended. This dude was all about Bleach. Like, for those of you that only know Tekking for his One Piece stuff, because let's be honest, that's what he's a lot more well known for right now. His Bleach stuff everyone's like, "Oh, what's he gonna do once Bleach is dead?" My man tested out 20 different videos on a ton of different content, and he found that his personality fit very well with the Bleach community, and he stuck with that. That is absolutely imperative, and that shows that 100%. Again, this is opinion, so I'm going to say fact, but it's opinion. That proves the fact that personality is more important than the content that you're creating.
Absolutely.
His channel should have died. He was exclusively about Bleach, and before that he did video games. Turn-based or strategy video games, I think. It was, something like that. Like I said, I got this man memorized because I just find him such an interesting character study. His channel, by the old standards of YouTube, by the old standards of creation, should have died. But he persevered because his personality is so unique and so engaging that you just want to watch him. You want to be a part of his community.
Yeah, like even back when he was doing Bleach, because that's where I got into his videos. I felt like when it came to like every other, like, because weekly chapter reviews back then were like the big thing. And like there's still plenty of people doing that now. But like that was when they were popular, more or less. Like these days they've kind of died off for like the most part in terms of like what's the popping content, you could say. But even back then, I always thought that his reviews of like weekly chapters and all that jazz was like very unique compared to everybody else, which is why I felt like he kind of stood out. But even now, I feel like part of what makes it is the fact that he's kind of got like a superpower. Like you said, he can just talk for like 20 to 40 minutes. He doesn't need a script. Maybe at most he'll have a couple bullet points or something. But he can just go and go and go. Like he knows all the information. Like most people aren't going to be like that. And when it comes to his reviews, like he'd do like skits and all these other interesting things to spice it up. Like you don't see that with other creators. So he definitely also stands out as being like unique. Because like I remember... Yeah, because like I remember after Bleach ended, he said, "Okay, well now that Bleach is over, I think I'm gonna actually start reviewing My Hero Academia." Like that's what he was originally going to do. Yeah. But I think he tried a couple, or he didn't even really get into it. I can't remember. But then he decided to just swap, and he was doing One Piece instead, along with, and like these days he does One Piece, but he also throws in content about plenty of other series. Like he covers a lot. So I feel like he's got like a core audience with like a big series that he's known for. But he also does plenty of other content to like diversify it. And I know like you and I have talked about this before, Brian, but the way I view YouTube is there's like 3 different categories, more or less, right? There's the people who are completely based on the topics they cover. There are the people who are completely personality based. And then there's the people in the middle who kind of like, they float that line because their personality is a big part of it, but the topic is also still like their driving force. Yeah. So I feel like almost any YouTuber can fall in one of those 3 categories, and it just depends on like what you're looking for as a viewer. Because a lot of times I feel the middle is where most people succeed, but then you take somebody like PewDiePie who like obviously you're going to see his opinion at this point. If you're not, I don't know why you're there, because like that's all. Like his videos are completely random, but it's like, oh, what is he talking about today? Let's go see what Felix feels about this, or watch him meme about it, or whatever else. Like he's completely personality based. Whereas plenty of other people just fall into the middle, or like it's all about whatever topic they're talking about, and that's where they lie.
Absolutely. And like I said, taking a look at AnimeTube as a microcosm, as this case study for this. People like Tekking is, again, he's a very personality based creator, but the information that he has on each series is wickedly insane. Like
he's an encyclopedia.
Yep. He's genuinely an encyclopedia on every series that he talks about. I don't know how he does his research. I don't know if he even does research. But the other thing that he does that I think people don't understand from a you guys might, just because, again, creators understand creators. I struggle with extrapolating, right?
Yeah.
If I'm saying a sentence, I want my sentence to be as short and to the point as possible.
Yeah.
Whereas Tekking, on the other hand, he says a very simple point in multiple paragraphs.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing is for him is the way that he creates his videos. It's all about one central topic, but he's able to expand it in such a way that it is terrifying.
Yeah, it becomes more personal sometimes
Yeah,
too.
because he tells a story, he tells his thoughts, he gives his reasoning behind it, and he gives why. He gives you the theory. Like when he does his theories, he gives you the theory, he feeds it to you, he gives you the basis of it, and then he expands on it, and then he comes back to it, and then he touches on another part to it, and then he touches on it again, and he builds it into this amazing. It's just it's so interesting. Like he's one of my dream guests on the Manga Club because I just want to pick his brain. I find him so inherently interesting, and I want to understand more. I want to pull back. I want to be. I don't want to say disappointed because that's not the right word. I want to know how his mind works, so I can make videos not closer to his, but in my own style. Because I feel like he and I do very similar, like off the cuff videos. He's much more, expressive, animated than I am, 95% of the time. But when he does his serious videos, because people haven't seen him do, like, when he's actually upset about something, he will do a serious video. And he doesn't do them as much anymore, I don't think. I haven't seen as many. But he does everything in one take, and that's what's inspired me to create. And he's one of those creators that I would just love to pick his brain because I want to understand more about why I create from how he creates.
Absolutely. I think that's a really interesting way to look at it, too. Because, like, you could, like, every kid has written a 5-paragraph essay in school. But it takes a certain skill set to be able to do that well, and to be able to do that with your own voice instead of just regurgitating information.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it comes down to a case study. Let's do some rapid fire questions because I want to get through as many of them as I can for you.
I have some favorite flashes, some flash favorites here. So, what are you listening to on your Spotify playlist right now? Because I really liked your music taste that you discussed, but who do you got rocking right now?
So, as Spooky knows, I am 100% a mid-2000s pop punk boy.
Yep.
Like the Wonder Years, the Swellers, Neck Deep, the Story So Far, 4 Years Strong. Broadside was actually my first. Broadside had my first. Was my first dance, like with my wife. Like we chose a Broadside song.
Oh, that's incredible.
So Broadside. So, okay.
Which song was it?
I Hate You. I Hate You. It's disgusting.
Yup. Okay, that's what I thought it would be. That's awesome.
the ukulele was amazing in there. I actually got to see them on their first Warped Tour.
Oh man.
And I got to shake Ollie's hand, and I got to tell him, "Hey, like you're one of my favorite." You're one of my favorite active bands right now. It's like, and I've traveled to St. Louis actually to see them perform. I've seen them perform 3 times, and they were great at all of them.
Yeah,
I've gotten to see 4 Years Strong perform. Amazing band. Seaway is baller. Seaway is super underrated, but they got to travel with Simple Plan. They were the opener for Simple Plan's tour because they're all from Canada.
Wow.
Which is just amazing. But I'm rocking the Wonder Years right now. I don't know what it is about Soupy, but he is such a good artist. And their new Burst in Decay acoustic EP, Volume 2.
Ooh, okay.
Brilliant. I was actually, and this sounds sad, if COVID and my dad hadn't died, I was going to go to St. Louis to watch them.
Wow.
To see the concert because it was an acoustic. How often do you get to go see an acoustic concert for a pop punk band?
Absolutely never. I know.
Absolutely never.
Silverstein did a Facebook Live acoustic concert because I was going to go see them acoustically with Brandon and with one of my other friends. But COVID.
Amazing.
We got wrecked.
So, and then the most recent concert that I've gotten to go to was A Day to Remember touring with Beartooth and I Prevail for their Degenerates tour. And I got to see them on Halloween.
That's awesome.
And I'd never listened to I Prevail really before. They were amazing. I've gotten to see A Day to Remember live twice. This was the second time. The first time that I got to see them was when they were touring with Papa Roach.
Oh wow!
And
Okay.
I have to say, if you were into alt rock, new metal at all, Papa Roach is a gem.
I've seen Papa
live.
Roach twice live. Yep.
Yep.
Like
So
Jacoby's,
with Brandon.
Yep.
Jacoby's energy is insane.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He's so good vocally on the mic. I'm a little bit more out of the rock phase. That was more high school. I made the transition to pop punk when I was 18, 19, like right when it was like that 2012, like that, like pizza pop punk, bubblegum pop punk.
Yes.
That wave hit. Like that was, that's my jam. But there was a local band based in Nebraska. I worked with two of the members, and I write this down because you might like them.
Okay.
Because they're that punch mouth pop punk. They're called A Summer Better Than Yours.
Okay.
They were my intro into pop punk, and they're what got me into my favorite pop punk band, The Swellers. Very underrated, criminally underrated. They toured with The Swellers toured with Paramore.
Wow. Okay.
On a South American tour.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they just got stuck at mid-level. And they're my biggest regret. Like,
yeah.
They were performing a concert up in Omaha, so 45 minutes away from when I was living in Lincoln. And I was actually in a band at the time, and we were in the recording studio. I said, "Hey guys, can we finish up pretty quickly here? I want to go see this concert up there." And our singer came and she's like, "No, we won't have time. I don't want to rush my vocals." Well, first of all, I didn't record bass. Second of all, she was hungover, so she threw out the vocals for the day. Like, I've never been close to hitting a woman except for that moment. Like, I was. And then it turns out that it was the Swellers' basically last tour. And so I will never they're the one band, them and the Wonder Years, they're the two bands. Like, I'm going to see the Wonder Years live at some point. They will be my last, it sounds stupid to say I have a last concert in mind. They will be my last concert.
Wow.
I like, the concert scene isn't for me. Being 5'6", I hate being surrounded by a crowd.
Yeah.
I can't see. I either have to be close to the front or I have to be far enough away. And that's why the acoustic show would have been a perfect way to end it, because they provide seats for you.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
That would have been amazing.
Yep.
Because it's like, oh, okay, I'm the same height as everybody else. My torso's long. It's stupid. But oh my god, I'm blasting that. I've been honestly on a Falling in Reverse kick.
Okay.
I don't like. Previously, I did not like Ronnie Radke as a person. I enjoyed the first album of Falling in Reverse, but I've been listening to it more and more, and I really respect the music that he's done because he's so far ahead of his time.
Okay.
Like his first, like if you listen to his albums, they come out 2 to 3 years before the music that he's making becomes popular. Like, let's take a look at the rap rock scene. Like how he's doing that kind of like how he's did that rap rock flow. That song, when did that album come out? Because he did closer to that, emo. Their first album, The Drug and Me Is You, came out in 2011 when emo was much more of a thing, but Fashionably Late, that 2013, had more rap influence. And everyone's like, this is so shitty. This is so bad. This is so terrible. And now, and then
look now.
and 5, 6, 7 years later, that's the norm. Like, that is insane. So I think he's a genuinely brilliant artist and creator. I think that he's had some problems in the past, but he's so good.
Oh man, I could listen to you talk about anything forever, Brian. But I'm gonna end with this question before we move on to the games, just so we're conscious of time. And I want to get to both my really awesome games I made. But so you talked about how you really like the game Fire Emblem on one of your videos. Have you played
Emblem Sacred Stones?
Okay, that specifically?
Sacred Stones and Path of Radiance. Sacred Stones was for the Game Boy Advance. I put probably over 500 hours into that game.
Yes.
It was absolutely amazing, and I was a perfectionist. I would make it so that if one of my characters died, I would restart the level and make it so that I got every single character at every single point. And there was one point I played through Path of Radiance, which is the one where it was Ike's first game.
Is that the GameCube one?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have Path of Radiance. God, what were the two GameCube? Because it was Path of Radiance.
No, he said the Stones. That was Game Boy. I have no idea.
1 second, I'm looking this up.
Yeah,
so
go
you
for
have Path
it.
of Radiance, and what was the second one? Because it was a two-parter. That's what people don't get. It was a two-parter. You had Path of Radiance, and the only one they ever talk about is Path of Radiance because it was the great one. I can't remember anymore. All that I played was Path of Radiance.
Okay, so you haven't played Three Houses yet, then?
I have not played Three Houses.
Okay.
But Path of Radiance, I played through it 3 times and beat it all 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I got every single dialogue, I got every single character, I got every single romance opened up. And then there was a point that I was going through, and midway through the story, one of these sniper characters, and this is how much of a perfectionist I was with this, died, and he kept dying, and he kept dying, and he kept dying. And I was just like, I had to take a break. And so I sold the GameCube and the game.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to ask you about Three Houses so we could bully Brandon for not playing it yet, but you haven't played it either, so I'll bully you too.
Joke's on
both
you, Evan. We're going to bully you. It's
For
2
playing?
against 1.
No.
You can't bully us.
Playing games and what is wrong with
Stop. You're ruining my life. But, okay. I do have other questions, but I want to get these games going because I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity.
We'll have you come back at a later time.
Oh, absolutely.
To throw down the rest of these and more.
I'll join. I'm willing to drive to where you guys are just to hang out at some point in time in the future.
Oh, well, as soon as we're pestilence free in the U.S., we'll have to definitely hit you up on that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely. So I am looking where you guys told me to watch.
Yeah, so on the stream, make sure you don't look at the chat because that's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to not look at the chat. Okay, I'm covering up the chat.
You can turn your phone or...
Yeah, if you turn it on the side, it should get rid of the chat completely.
But
I'm gonna reveal a secret about me, guys.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Oh, do you have a flip phone?
Not get rid of the chat.
No. Is that your secret?
No. My secret is I actually permanently lock my phone into
portrait
vertical mode.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm covering the chat. I'm covering the chat right now.
I trust you.
Are we starting with the art activity?
We are. The critically acclaimed, most well-known, voted #1 name 18 years in a row, art activity. This is something that we probably could name better, but we haven't. And so what I did is I took very, very well-known anime characters, and I redrew them in my own art style, okay?
Oh, God.
And so what it's up to you two to do is to collaborate and figure out, who these characters are that are so well-known that you guys should know them like the back of your hand. Mangatuber, anime tuber, you guys are the perfect pair to deduce who these characters are.
Oh, Lord.
So you get 1 point for getting the character's name, and you get 1 point for getting the anime that character is from.
Did you watch the last game that I did?
No. On what?
So a friend of mine was running a quarantine stream.
Ooh, okay.
And I jumped on, and they were doing Guess This Manga.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm going to be honest here, guys. I'm probably going to lose. I'm terrible at games. I actually ended up winning the whole thing out of 20 different Mangatubers. It was...
that's incredible.
I was being genuinely serious. I was like, I'm sorry. But the questions that they were asking, I just happened to know every single one. The person was trying to be tricky, and they were on one of them, and they described an arc in Fairy Tail.
Yes.
A very obscure arc that unless you read it and really understood, it was the Otherworld arc.
Oh, okay, sure.
And the way they described it, and it was you had the choice between one of these is a manga, one of these isn't. But the way they described the rules made it seem like either both of them could be a manga or neither of them could be a manga. And so I sat there and I was like, these are both manga.
Yeah.
And I was like, I even went further and I was like, one of these is Fairy Tail, one of these, and not only Fairy Tail, it is this specific arc. And the person asking the question just started laughing. They went, okay, I'm impressed.
So you were
flexing.
The
first question, I was flexing, but the first question that they asked, they asked a Naoki Urasawa question, and I was like, you guys know better than that.
Oh, no. Yeah, I watched your manga club with the anime dude, and you said you think Michael Jordan is the best scorer in NBA history, was the debate. That was the top. Oh, he's back. So
he's back.
You may get that. Go watch his episode, and you can go watch the manga club episode with the anime dude, and you can hear them talk about that without
me. Did I interrupt? Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Is it?
We had an interesting discussion yesterday about this.
We did. We did talk on Twitter about this too. And we kind of came to the conclusion that Kevin Durant is.
I can agree that KD is absolutely amazing.
Special.
But I also think it's hard to compare different eras with different rules even.
Mm-hmm. And the point values, right? Like a 3-point would be so much rarer and worth so much more back then.
Oh yeah.
Than now. But anyway, so on to anime, on to manga, on to picture one. Bada boom. It should be on your stream. Very, very simple.
Oh, that's Nami.
That's
are you sure?
Excuse me?
Are you sure? We gotta work together here.
Did you see? So... I feel like you said that before you saw the picture, but.
I am confused.
Why are you confused? I told him how easy this would be.
Well, this is not easy. Okay.
Red hair and a bikini top. Come on now. Is there anything
say, like fake Nami? Well, she had more like a football head, so I don't know.
She did.
I forgot about fake Nami.
Oh, so it is Nami. See, the fact that you said I forgot about fake Nami.
I could be pranking you. Maybe I knew exactly who fake Nami was.
Oh, oh wait, I have an idea. Can we say that this is like Nami when she gets hit by Jorah's art fruit and she gets all like weird looking?
You can say whatever you want to say.
If you think it's Nami, I think like that's the only way I can twist that to actually be Nami. So, because I don't have another guess.
I need a final answer here.
I'm leaving it up to you, Brian. I'm leaving it up to you.
Final answer needed. Anime and character name, please.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard me, Brian, but I said it's up to you. I think the only way we can twist this into being Nami is if we say it's Jorah Art Nami.
Is there anyone else that you think it could be, though?
That's the thing. I don't have a second guess. So I like obviously I don't necessarily think it's Nami, but I don't have a second guess. So
it's a problem. We have to go with Nami with confidence. Like when they tell you ABC questions in school, the only thing that's throwing me off about it potentially not being Nami is there's like something in her hair.
Oh, I guess we could say Orihime, but I don't think that's Orihime. So
I'm gonna give you 15 more seconds.
I mean, also her hair.
And I need an answer.
Blue. So
Nami, I'm going with Nami.
Nami,
all right,
and the anime is what? Just to be clear,
it's the One Piece.
The One Piece.
All right, so it is One Piece, but in fact, that's Blue Fan.
Oh come on!
Who the heck?
That's Blue Fan. You don't know Blue Fan? Look at her gut.
No one. If I were to message checking right now and say who's Blue Fan, even his encyclopedia knowledge would be like, who the hell are you talking about?
It wasn't Nami,
you didn't
guys.
Put the necklace, so I think that's what happened.
True.
That's why I didn't.
I took artistic liberties, but
actually, I'm gonna be honest here. That looks exactly like her.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's Blue Fan.
Did anyone in the chat guess that one?
No. They all said it wasn't Nami though. So
yeah. Well, we got the One Piece right. We got One Piece.
You
right
did. You got a point. So now we're on to 2.
Oh.
2 is up here.
Oh crap!
Do you know this?
I don't know this.
Fuck.
Look at Dr. Seuss here.
I don't think I've ever seen that hat in my life. So
like, oh my god!
Honestly,
how are you still good at this?
The style kind of looks like Naoki Urasawa, to be honest. Like that's the vibe I'm getting.
Ooh.
But I don't know what
series. The hat throws me off.
Like it's yeah.
The hat is what's throwing me off here because like it's just so distracting. I literally can't look at the character's face.
All right, well here's what I'm gonna say. All right, I'm thinking it is from Naoki Urasawa. I have not read Pluto. I've only read some of 20th Century Boys. I don't remember this in Monster at all. So as the Pluto expert, Brian, what do you think? Is this guy from Pluto?
No.
Have you ever seen him in your life?
No.
I mean, it could also be from a Ghibli movie.
Is he from Pluto? No.
It could also be from a Ghibli movie. Like,
oh man,
it's got that kind of style. Like,
right.
Brandon,
I'm gonna start my countdown here.
Brandon, I'm going with your confidence on this one. We're gonna say that it's Urasawa. Just even though I'm the Urasawa expert, I got to make the call to the last one.
Okay.
Brandon, I'm trusting you.
All right.
Oh no.
I got no manga or anime for this one.
I'm second guessing myself.
No, this is Fairy Tail. This is Mashima.
Mashima
right,
from Fairy Tail?
Fairy Tail, but
he's
who's
from
the guy?
I don't know the guy, but I think he's from Fairy Tail.
We'll just say guy from Fairy Tail.
Guy from Fairy Tail? You think it's Guy
from
Ferrari? Well, it's actually Daddy D from One Piece. I thought you guys were One Piece experts.
Daddy D.
That's Daddy D.
You're literally choosing. You're literally choosing characters that were on screen for less than 15 seconds, and some of them were anime only and not manga.
No, these are all canon. I made sure they were all canon. I made sure they're all in manga chapters.
I'm pissed. What arc is he from?
All right, I'll tell you later. I don't have that information with me, but here's our last, not our last guy. But here's our next guy. I will say
this like fucking Jack Frost.
This is not my best work, but it is work. So
okay, I'm gonna be honest. like realistically speaking, the artwork is is not bad.
Oh, thank you. I
But
appreciate
who the
that.
fuck
You don't
is
know who this
this?
guy is? I said they were all well known.
All right.
I may
he's
have
done
lied,
2 for
but I
2
did
for
say
One
that.
Piece. Should we say that it's 3 for 3 with One Piece?
But have you
I
ever
just
seen a blue character
exclusively
in One Piece?
picked One Piece
Like a
characters?
blue
I mean,
character
there
in
are
One Piece.
fishmen. Fishmen do exist, and they are blue sometimes. So
Wait, this is a mermaid. This has got it. No. Now I'm injecting fake scenes from One Piece into my mind.
like, I'm thinking. All right, I think just for trial and error, we should say One Piece for a 3rd time since we have no freaking clue.
I'm going. Let's trust the One Piece.
One Piece.
All right, we're gonna say either
What's his name?
All right, Brian, I need your opinion here. Are we gonna say Fishman/Mermaid or Frozen Kid? One of those two.
It's got to be a mermaid, and if it was going to
Alright.
be any mermaid, it'd be the scene when they're all being attacked by Koribu.
Okay.
All right, we'll say Mermaid.
Mermaid.
From One Piece.
From One Piece.
Mermaid.
Okay.
Mermaid from One Piece.
So, you guys were very close, except if
It
you
was
didn't,
Black Clover.
If you didn't speak at all, it is Black Clover, and it's Poplo Espuma.
Poplo Espuma.
That's Poplo. Look at him. He's so nervous and laying down. I mean, I only drew his top, but look how nervous he looks.
Is it okay? I'm gonna be honest here. For some reason, I was like Black Clover, but I was like, no. I was like, there's no way. Like my gut instinct was like I was thinking it was a different shonen. But I was like, no,
right.
Evan would be. Oh,
this one's much easier for you guys. Much easier.
I hate you so much right now.
I made him bigger. Don't worry. This one's easy. I promise.
Well, he's got a Star of David, so that's
that's my poor art skill. That's not intentional. It's meant to be the same thing as on his hat. So.
Oh really?
Have we gotten any of these?
I mean, we got
we have half a point.
We got One Piece.
You have 1 point. You have 1 point. You got One Piece on the first one.
This is not from One Piece. That I can confirm that.
Well, I mean, you confirmed the last one was from One Piece, and here we are with the 1 point.
Cops in it though, like regular run-of-the-mill cops.
He's not a cop. Look at the shoulder pauldrons.
Yeah, I mean, he's a militarized cop.
And look at his Star of David.
Defund the police.
I can't believe I put a Star of David. I'm so happy that got noticed.
I knew that was the first thing I saw besides the mustache. Like,
I sat there and I was like, I'm not gonna say Star of David because I could be wrong.
Oh,
that's what that is.
It is.
That is 100% a start. Like this.
This is the second to last one, and this is definitely the easiest one.
I swear
I hate you.
I've got like a manji symbol or swastika. I'm gonna freak out. But,
easy.
Okay. Can we?
You can guess an anime and a character
can we
name.
Just say a police officer from Monster. Like,
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
You know what? I'm just gonna go with it until I've been proven that it's wrong.
Okay.
2 out of 3 so far have been One Piece. I'm gonna say One Piece.
You think this is One Piece? He said it. Brandon said exclusively. It is not One Piece.
If this is One Piece, like,
I'll say
I'm going to
is with
throw
no
a pen
context.
across the room.
I know Brandon's gonna be mad when he sees this character.
Oh my god.
There's no context. That doesn't mean it is One Piece. It doesn't mean it isn't One Piece. But I know.
Oh wait!
Specifically, he's gonna be mad.
I think I know who this is. Maybe.
Okay.
So I remember on Water 7, there's that one dude who has like a hat like that, and like I think he had a scar on his face though, which is kind of leading me to believe maybe this isn't him, unless that's like the side of the ear right there. But he was one of like the oh no, not even Water 7. It's the dude that
Nami's
he's on
Village
Nami's
guy.
island. Yeah. The dude with the but he doesn't have a pinwheel on his head. Never mind, I'm an idiot.
No,
Star David.
No. He didn't put the pinwheel on his head until after Nami's mom got shot in the face by Arlong.
So this is like pre-flashback.
Yes. If
of that
we're
guy?
doing some bullshit like this,
What's his name? I'm gonna need an answer soon here.
I'm saying that it's the old man from Nami's village who was hitting on Najiko.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
You know
go with
what?
that.
If that's the character you're going with, if that was correct, I would give you the point for it. But it's not. It's Bob from Cowboy Bebop.
Are you kidding?
That's Bob. Look at him. He talks to Jet. He's Jet's friend.
I'm mad.
I recognize this character, actually.
Well, you just watched Cowboy Bebop. It's been a little while for me now, so.
And this is the last one. This is probably, aside from Poplo.
If you say this is the hardest one, I'm gonna reach for the computer and think about slapping you.
This is probably the hardest one besides Poplo.
Oh no, this is This is the dog from the Urankar arc, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from Bleach. We can confirm that right now. What is his fucking name?
It had a name?
Yeah, dude, I actually knew this not that long ago. I saw it and oh, that's its name. Okay.
Oh, that's rough if you don't remember the name.
We have Bleach. We know is he from the he's from the Urankar arc, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely from Bleach. It's definitely from the Urankar arc, but he's gonna clown on us if we don't get a name.
Well, he's been clowning on us this whole time.
That's absolutely correct. You didn't get Bob or Poplo or Daddy D.
Or what was the first one again?
Blue Fan.
Yeah, I hate you.
You thought that was Nami.
I don't know its name. All
name.
Right. Can we just say Pupper from Bleach?
I'll give you for
Hollow Pupper.
For narrowing down the arc, I'll give you a pity point. But his name is Kukapuro.
I'm mad.
Kukapuro.
Who would have guessed that name?
From Bleach.
I have a hard enough time remembering the main characters' names of the manga that I'm reading currently.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you expect me to remember the dog's name from the Urankar arc of Bleach, please.
Yes. Piss. And you didn't, so you didn't get the point. So you didn't win.
I'm mad. I'm mad.
So there's the art activity for the day. And if you want to get even dumber and even more mad, So I watched the Manga Club interview, the most recent one, where you interviewed Spooky on it, okay?
Yes.
And I noted in that interview, very offhand topic and conversation, you may not even remember, but you talked about orange, and if that was a fruit or a color first.
I hate you so
that's
much.
That's what you guys talked about. And so what I did is I went to the Sherwin-Williams Paint website, and I found some wonderful shades of colors. And I want you guys to compete against each other to try to figure out which is the real name for each color. There will be 4 choices. You get 1 point for the correct answer, and you get 0 points for an incorrect answer. Brian is our guest. You will start first, and then we'll alternate with who gets to go first, okay?
Hey, Brian.
Yeah?
Good luck, but you're going to lose.
Yeah, probably. I'm slightly colorblind.
Oh, no. I am too, so it's okay.
And by colorblind, I mean I'm blind to the names of freaking colors.
All right, so here, the first one is on your screen, and the names are Black Magic, Dark Magic, Endless Soul, or Night Sky.
See, the sad thing is, I think if you looked at three of these 4 for a different company, they're all going to be the name for black.
You could be correct.
I'm the only one that I don't think would be right would be Dark Magic. I think Black Magic, Endless Soul, and Night Sky are going to be part of it. But if I had to guess, my gut is telling me C or D, and my first instinct was telling me C. And as I've learned through high school, when you go with your first gut instinct, you're usually probably 50% close to being right. So I'm saying Endless Soul.
C is your choice, okay? Brandon.
See, I actually thought the same thing. I thought Endless Soul seemed the most possible.
And you may choose the same letter as the other person.
I know, but
I didn't explain that to Brian, but
just for the sake of the game, I think I'm going to start out by guessing a different one just to try to get the point. So I'm going to go with Black Magic since there are 2 magics involved. I think there's a possibility you could have been trying to either A, swindle us, or B, there was actually some relation there. So I'm going to go with A.
So, one of you is correct. And Brian, it's not you.
It's actually Black Magic.
It's Black Magic.
I thought...
that's the color Black Magic,
I did think it was Endless Soul, though. I did. I just wanted to, try and get a point ahead, which I did, so...
It worked. All right, so there's the next color, and the potential names for this color are silver, favorite jeans, washed jeans, or monochrome.
When I was looking... Right? Yeah, yes, you do.
This is your first.
Go ahead with what you're saying, though.
Nope, because it was going to...
I would like to...
Don't help him. No, do not help him.
Okay. Well, I think silver is too obvious. I think monochrome is slightly different than that. So I'm going to go with washed jeans.
You're going to say washed jeans, okay.
C.
Brian, what would be your choice?
Monochrome, because I remember seeing that in Lowe's when I was looking at colors for my house.
Oh, okay. Well, you're both wrong. It's favorite jeans.
I almost picked it.
The color's name is favorite jeans.
Wow. Best Gina. Okay.
All right. So no points given away for that one. Brandon, you're still on top. I got to get rid of one of these colors. So this is the next color. And the potential names for this are Green Bay, Aquamarine, Dolphin, or Tortoise. So Brian, it is your guess first.
If that's a dolphin, then I am 6 foot tall. That is tortoise. Tortoise all day, every day.
You think this is tortoise? Your final answer is D.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with aquamarine.
You're gonna say aquamarine?
Yeah, B.
Wow, I thought I'd convince you with the dolphin, but it is in fact Green Bay.
That was my other choice.
That's Green Bay.
That's green dumb.
I never said it wasn't. All right, next color. So this could potentially be hot, pinkie pie, slippy salmon, or fuchsia. So Brandon, I believe this is your go.
I think it's gonna be C. I'm feeling I'm very drawn to slippy salmon.
You think it's slippy salmon?
Well, okay, no, never mind. Final answer, pinkie pie.
Pinkie pie. Oh, okay.
Pie.
All right.
Pinkie pie.
Okay. I'll accept it.
I'm choosing. I'm so wrong here. I'm gonna say slippy salmon. I was gonna say slippy salmon too.
Ooh, okay.
Slippy sounds like a word Evan made up real quick, so that's what I was like. Like he's like, oh, Star Fox, Slippy.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest here, Spooky. It's probably gonna be. This is the only normally named one, so it'll probably be fuchsia.
Okay.
This one will genuinely probably be fuchsia, but I'm saying slippy salmon.
All right.
Freak out.
So Brandon, you changed from C to B, correct?
I did.
You went from slippy salmon to pinkie pie.
Pinkie pie.
And if you would have stayed at slippy salmon, you would have been incorrect.
Exactly.
God,
but because you switched to pinkie pie, you're also incorrect, and it is hot. It is hot.
Kidding me? What is that?
That's hot. That's the color hot. What do you mean? I don't know why you're upset.
These are the worst. Like, this is why when somebody's like, "Is this pink or salmon?" I'm like, "It's pink," even if it is salmon. I'm that guy.
I want you to know I warned you this game was dumb. I never said it was good.
I swear to God, if this is Middle East, I'm going to be so upset.
So this is Middle East, sensational sand, dry desert, or tarnished trumpet.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm going to be honest here. Tarnished trumpet sounds like a really bad sex move.
So who? I forget who goes first this time. I think it's Brian.
Me.
I think it's Brian. Yep.
I'm gonna say C, dry desert.
Dry desert, okay.
I'm going with tarnished trumpet because I feel like that is almost too off the walls.
You think it's tarnished trumpet? Okay, so.
And see, just wait 1 second before we do this, Evan.
Sure.
I just want to point out that the way, like, you sounded so surprised, like you're impressed that somebody can be so wrong every time.
Absolutely, because you're both wrong again. It was sensational sand.
Are you kidding me? I should have went with my piss.
I want you to know before I decided on this, I was going to have you just come up with names out of thin air, but I knew that would be too hard. I thought this would be easier.
That would be impossible. Who would have guessed freaking hot?
Hot?
Yeah.
So now this color, is this pale sunrise, rusty trombone?
No, that is a sex move.
Tarnished trumpet, or pastello yellow? Brandon, you begin.
I'm just going to double down on tarnished trumpet. I'm doubling down.
I'm saying pastello yellow.
Pastello yellow. Now, I appreciate that you think my originality in coming up with pastello yellow would be good enough to fit a paint color. But you're wrong, and it is tarnished trumpet. This one is tarnished trumpet.
I doubled down.
So, Brandon officially has won this, but you can still have some dignity with this last question. There is an opportunity for you to regain your dignity. Is this A, stupid, B, eggshell, C, broken beige, or D, unfussy beige?
Oh, God fucking damn it. Let's go with, let's go with, oh, God, stupid.
You want to go with stupid? I mean,
I'm gonna triple down. I might as well just accept what I am right now.
This isn't about me.
Stupid.
This is about this color.
I'm gonna go with D.
D?
Unfussy.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go with D.
Well, one of you is a little too fussy because picking stupid was the wrong choice. It is unfussy beige. So Brandon, with the clean
I know what
sweep.
eggshell is, so I knew that wasn't right.
No, I knew it wasn't eggshell, and I knew broken beige just sounds too dumb. And the fact that tarnished trumpet, I just had to double down and I couldn't get a single one right. I think I win by getting the most wrong.
I'm really happy that stupid was wrong. That's amazing.
Brandon, you're officially
for this.
Captain Color.
I am the color master, and I win.
That's great.
Here, you know what? That's my victory drum solo.
I don't like that. So.
Well, you shouldn't have let me win then.
I should have. Shouldn't have. You're right. I'll rig it next time for the guest.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to put it this way. I've lost both games spectacularly.
Well, we lost.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, you guys both lost your honor in the art game because that was very simple. And I don't understand that you got like 2 right. But anyways, so Lohali, where can the people find you?
So you can find me on my YouTube channel, Lohali, spelled Lohali. I am not from Hawaii. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at The Real Lohali, both places.
Heck yeah,
So,
all the links will be in the description below to check out our guest, and also our links as well if you want to check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Twitter. Catch them live on Twitch at American_Sushi.
Gotta
and
have that underscore.
on YouTube at, underscore is very important for Twitch, _gang. And then, of course, on YouTube at the American Sushi Podcast. So, we end these off with a question, and it is not my turn. So
It's
Evan,
my turn. And,
take
you
it
know,
over here.
I felt like a lot of these questions have been very silly, a lot of little goofs and gaffs, you know, and I've laughed. But I thought to get a little serious with this, I feel like we've had some good life lessons, some good real talk with Brian. So let's end it with, is or is not a hot dog a sandwich? Let us know in the comment section, please.
In the comments below, we're eagerly awaiting the answer because we really don't know. But you could enlighten us. And
we
I'm
will
glad
know
that
then.
we philosophically talked about the hot dog question for 2 hours and 30 minutes. I appreciate you coming by.
I mean, yeah, we all know what my thoughts are. If we have to talk about a hot dog, you have to talk about the taco.
You can't say it. You can't say it.
I don't stop. Go comment it. Comment it.
But,
we
we'll
gotta
have
go.
you back for a future episode. We're gonna go now. We gotta go.
Bye.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.